DR Sports is entering the metaverse.
Welcome to Habbo.
Come play games and chat about the latest football drama.
Meet up with friends, meet new people, and have a great time.
I'll be there on special VIP days. Click the link or go to the website at habbo.com.
Yes, guys, and welcome back to another Saturday football show. You're back with myself, Fuad. Another action-packed afternoon. Make sure you're getting involved in that Habbo stuff as well. Very soon, there'll be our very own characters. Me, Alex, Matisse, a bunch of us will be in there. You can get involved in the conversation. So make sure you hit the link in the description. Sign up, get involved, and of course, get involved in the conversation today. Throw your comments in, throw your super chats in. We've got tons to get through. We've got Villa, Forest, Brentford, Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Spurs, Brighton, and Wolves, Chelsea. And of course, I've got a full house next to me. I've got my man James Toon. How are you, bruv? You good?
I am phenomenal. Thank you very much for having me on.
As always. You know James Toon is always bringing the noise and bringing some more noise.
I don't know if that's a compliment or a bad thing.
Hey, it can go either way.
I know it's from the car park, to be honest.
Listen, you know. And of course, you can hear him there. We got Daps in the building as well. Repping City. How are you, man? You good?
Apparently Norwich today in yellow.
Well, yeah. We actually got two boys in yellow because we got Thomas over here as well. Back on the show again. How are you, man? You good?
Very nervous for Frank's first game back, but yeah, loving it.
Listen, we got a lot to get into. There's been so much that's happened at Chelsea over the weekend as well. We've just seen United win 2-0 against Everton as well. Did you guys manage to catch any of that game?
I was listening to it on the radio on the way down. But
what do you guys make of kind of United's 2-0? Martial getting involved today as well with the second goal.
Rashford looking injured, apparently.
And like I said, Everton are going down, man. They're going down. They don't have the fight to stay up. I said it before, and I said it again. They are falling like a lead balloon right now.
Do you think so?
You're damn right.
When Sean Dyche came in initially, I looked at him as like, he can be the saving factor. I look at the Everton squad, I don't see much quality. I don't know if they've got the firepower that you would normally need to stay up in the Premier League.
They don't.
But I always look at them and think, tactically they can kind of give you trouble. But today against United in the first half, I can't lie to you, United looked peak Ten Hag ball was what some fans are saying. So
without Casemiro as well. Is it the last game without Casemiro today?
Yeah, last game without Casemiro. But I think in the first half they had 21 shots with obviously only resulting in one goal. But Everton were almost a little bit too open. So do you see them as a potentially relegation?
I think that they're in that little sort of position where they're in danger if they don't get results. And like most people, I mean, everyone thought Sean Dyche was going to come in and the results were going to pick up, and they did briefly, but not over a longer period. I mean,
they got the new manager bounce, instant win against Arsenal, and then they did us over, but.
Was that the new manager bounce?
Everything that you thought Javi Gracia.
Is that why they beat you, the new manager bounce?
No, they didn't beat us. They drew, actually.
Oh, true. Same as us, to be fair, but before 2 goals.
Sean Dyche, he's not all that. He's not all that anymore. He's no Javi Gracia, you know what I mean? And like you said, their squad has about as much class as a defunct secondary school. So...
Listen, let's get through some of the lineups as well, because Everton going to be in trouble. United are obviously back competing for the Champions League spots, and we got a few of those games today as well that should be competing for them. Villa Forest is the first one. Do you want to go for the lineups on that one?
Tie. You've got Martinez in goal, Mings and Concert at the back, Young right back, Moreno left back, Douglas Luiz and McGuinness in the midfield, Bailey and Ramsey packing it in for a middle four, and then Watkins and Buendia up front. For Forest, on the other hand, you've got Navas in goal, Niakate and Felipe is the back two, Williams right back, Toffolo left back, Danilo, Worrell and Kouyaté in a 3, Shelvey in the 2, Brennan Johnson next to him, and Morgan Gibbs-White up front.
Just quickly on this game, what do you guys make of what Unai Emery has done
quietly, not being spoken enough, not being spoken enough, where they were to where they are, and I didn't even realise till last week when I looked at the table and was like, ooh.
They're gaining places.
He's a contender for manager of the season. I'm not even joking. He's in the. He won't win it, and he doesn't deserve to win it.
But he is in the conversation. That have been there all season, isn't it?
No,
you know what? I was looking at it going, you can't do that because he's only been there for a certain amount of time. But there's not many managers that have been there all season. So
I think they are third when it comes to form since he's taken over. And you kind of look at the players that Gerrard had there prior to him, you always looked at the Villa squad and thought there is talent there. You can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a bit of quality.
100%.
They shouldn't be
They've
kind
spent
of
a lot.
where they are. And
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
said, they've spent a lot since Grealish has left. But Unai Emery's just come in and kind of given them that little bit of solidity that they need
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to base. Almost what we're saying. Sean Dyche was going to
Yep.
bring Everton.
Yeah,
He just kind
spot
of
on.
brought that back to basics. 4-4-2, you can see they've kind of gone flat. It's almost like literally
Yeah.
what he was doing at Villarreal. I remember seeing that 4-4-2
Yeah.
against United. They succeeded, and I was like, he's a real like throwback manager, it seems like. And I feel like during his time at Arsenal, he got rubbed out a little bit, maybe. But since then, what
I
he's
thought
done,
he was harshly treated at Arsenal, to be honest.
I agree. But the thing is, I think filling the shoes of a man like Wenger
Yeah.
was always going to be a tough job.
Do you know
no
what?
matter
I always say the same on Moyes, right? That I always feel slightly Man United are a little bit harsh on him because
Yep.
the same excuses they've used on every other manager, it's like it was the same owners under Moyes. You do realise that, yeah? But and I'm not saying Moyes did a good job, but you say about the whole atmosphere around the ground. Well, that was because Fergie had just left, right?
Well,
You can't follow
Ferguson had
Fergie
just
and
left.
Wenger.
He'd completely shot the club as well.
Yeah.
Let's bear in mind.
Yeah,
he
he
had
has.
a very aging squad. He kept players around just to win the league that year.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
could
yeah, spot on.
go off
Yep.
on a high, look like the Don, which he
Yep.
has a fair claim to be. But then he completely sold Moyes
Yeah.
under the river with that one.
And it's always tough, I feel like, stepping into those shoes after such a big manager. But then I always feel like a great sign of a good manager is how they bounce back.
Yeah.
I think you looked at his record before he came to Arsenal with Sevilla, and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
this guy really
Yeah,
deserves that
yeah.
big chance. He got that big chance, and it might have not gone how it's gone. But he went to
Went away and
Villarreal.
rebuilt himself.
PSG,
Yeah,
did he?
same thing.
PSG, let's not forget as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Over there, managed some very big egos at the time and won titles as well.
Yeah.
And then now he's kind of come to the. And honestly, when he made the move to Villa, I looked at it like,
Why?
you were just in the semi-final of the Champions League, mate. You
Yeah.
were in the Europa League final. Why are you taking this relegation step?
Probably backed
Money.
himself.
Money.
Well, probably, and he
that
backed
appeal
himself
of the
as well,
Premier
to be
League
fair.
will always be there.
Premier
I feel
League's a
like.
Super League.
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is.
argument.
I think that's the thing as well, that he would know that he could come over here and obviously payday. If he doesn't succeed, he knows on the continent he can go back and get a
Yeah.
job straight away because his credentials, every time he steps away from the Premier League back over there, success. So he knows, right, maybe it's just not this league. But
Do you guys reckon late push maybe for Europe for Villa if they keep up? Because there's still about 8 games to go in the season.
Well, I have to
And
say,
no one's really been that consistent when I look in those spots. You look at
what is it,
Liverpool,
8?
you look
Is
at
it top
Brighton,
8? Is it going to be top
Fulham.
8 that get
a top
some sort-
7. So I have to say,
No,
as a
'cause
Chelsea
am I not right? 5 get Champions League this year.
4 get Champions League.
No, I'm
then
sure
that's when wins it.
5.
No, 4
Four.
Is it not the 5th this
Then
year?
2 for Europa League, 1 for Conference League.
Yeah.
If United win the Europa League.
If United win Europa League but aren't in top 4, then we get 5 in the Champions League.
okay.
That's it.
So it's going to be, yeah.
Or if Chelsea win the Champions
It's
League.
hard,
not-
it's the other
So
teams
where
there.
Where are they at the moment?
They're currently 7th, 1 point ahead of Liverpool. Liverpool
Villa.
obviously have that game in hand, yeah. 2 points behind Brighton, but Brighton, wow,
Brighton,
what a
yeah.
season they're
Yeah.
having. 2 games in hand over them. I don't know, it depends, man. I've been impressed with Brentford and Fulham. I think Chelsea
Yep.
are completely out of the race after signing Frank Lampard. We'll get onto that after.
No.
That's completely ruined their season. But no, I think Villa are in for a good shot, but it all depends on what.
It's the other teams, isn't it?
Yeah.
But as
You're
a
still
Chelsea
going to say
fan-
Liverpool, if they find form, which we're still somehow at this point still saying they will.
Yeah.
So there's still some people saying Chelsea will find form. I'm still hearing it.
But
I'm
as-
still hearing it.
But as a Chelsea
From
fan,
Arsenal fans, they're worrying about you lot going to the Emirates, which
But
I
that's
don't get.
one game.
But they are worrying
But that's
about
one
it.
game.
I don't know.
Not with Frank. I ain't- if I'm Arsenal, I ain't worried about that now.
We'll discuss that
But-
game in detail, trust me.
as a Chelsea fan, if anyone Chelsea fan makes a case for a late charge to Europe to 7th, I think there's 5 or 6 points in there. You have to say Aston Villa are in that conversation. But
And
I think their
Brighton.
fear is that if they lose a couple games now, their players might go into the kind of flip flops on the beach part of the season.
Holiday mode.
It
I think
would be
that's
a
where
shame.
Fulham and Brentford are now with the seasons that Fulham and Brentford have had.
They've
I
kind of
feel like
given up.
that's where they're slipping into now. Where at one point you were like, "Nah, Fulham and
They're gonna
Brentford
get Europe.
can really push
Speaking
on
of
for
which,
this."
perfect transition. Let's actually go through the lineups of the next game, which is Brentford versus Newcastle today. And Brentford have got David Raya, Janssen, Pinnock, Ben Mee in goal, with Hickey and Rico Henry at wing back. Janssen, Norgard, and De Silva in midfield, and Sade and Tony up front. And then Newcastle have Nick Pope, Trippier, Fabian Schär, Botman, and Dan Burn in a back 4. Longstaff, Bruno, and Willock in a midfield 3. And then Jacob Murphy, Isaac, and Joel Linton up front. What have you guys made of Isak in this game? He's someone whose second half of the season has almost been like a new signing for Newcastle, you feel like. But do you guys rate him?
Oh man, he has got every single bit of quality you could ask for in a player. If you're building a dream player, physicality wise, he's got pace, he's got a good touch, he can take a man on, he's got incredible finishing.
Kilos, though?
Yeah, he could maybe put on a couple more kilos, but even then, I mean, he doesn't strike me as a weak player. He's quite hard to get off the ball once he gets going, and the more he stays in English football, the more he will naturally bulk up to adjust to the physicality of the league. But if you're talking about potential and a striker that has every single thing going for him to reach the top, he is one of them.
Yeah,
and I think he got unlucky with injuries.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I think he actually, when he first arrived, he hit the ground running instantly, and that injury
game
really
against
threw him.
Liverpool, where
But then I think the injuries really knocked him. But you know what? I see him and Wilson together being a nice little.
Big
nice
and little,
balance.
well, not big and little, they're two big fellas.
Yeah,
but
it's
do you
just
think in a
Wilson's
4-4-2
form's
front
dropped
two,
a bit.
those two can work? Because Isak does tend to pick up this kind of almost 10 spaces, almost like a second striker. And I feel like, last season I think at Sociedad he got 7 league goals. It was so he's not a striker who's been overly reliant on goals.
He had Sorloth next to him, but people forget with Isak that Dortmund signed him when he was about 16. They knew that this guy was a legit football player,
and Dortmund know how to scout young talent.
And it actually didn't work out for him at Dortmund. Like, he wasn't a Haaland,
isn't it? Yeah.
They sent him out to Sociedad, but clearly they knew this guy was going to be elite. And as you say, their talent ID's awesome.
Listen, I'm sure there's some Arsenal fans in the chat. Let us know, because I remember
they were dying to get him in the
remember, in the summer there was once upon a time you guys were linked 75 million, and I remember a lot of Arsenal fans were like, get this kid, because as you guys
he's not right for what they want though.
But the thing is he came to Newcastle for 72 million. Arsenal were possibly looking to get him for 75 million. I'm thinking, obviously they've now got Jesus. I think, especially for the fee that they paid for Jesus, much better option. But do they look at that Isak deal and think,
I don't
maybe
think
they wish they'd gone for broke? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts.
We just said that he's not that player that gets loads of goals. What they're crying out for, because we knew that with Jesus. We knew that Jesus is going to up their level. Their overall output of goals is going to go up with Jesus, but it's not all on him. They're going to get... God, I forgot his name now. Isaac. Yeah, it's the same thing. I think what they're crying out for now, maybe. But here's the thing, Arsenal fans. Maybe that isn't what you need. Like,
no. To be fair, I'm reading some of the comments.
Season that Haaland's changed the way we play. Sometimes teams do not need one player that's going to come in and get 40 goals every season. Sometimes you need it spread out.
But Isak is only 23 years old, so to say he's not a bona fide goal scorer yet is a bit harsh. You know,
bit harsh, but I believe Haaland's still 22 and bona fide.
But Haaland is. Haaland is arguably the greatest striker in footballing history. You know, when his career is done, he could go down.
Not your Boa.
Huh? No, well, you're talking about two Leeds boys, you know. Haaland was also conceived in the Ellen Road changing rooms, so there you go.
So let me just read out some of the comments here. Mahad here says Arteta's ID'd him 18 months ago, but a 75 million release clause was a tad too much.
Very similar to Jesus when you think about it.
King of the Indies says they were chasing him in January, looking at license plates and that. DMYG regular in the chat as well. Big up yourself. He says Isak hype. He's not buying into it.
Maybe I'll give him some money.
Harvey says, I'm a Swedish Arsenal supporter and Isak is a very good player and I wanted him at Arsenal. So it's a bit of a split on whether the guys wanted him or not. But I think, reading here, someone says here...
Do you know the amount of welcome to Arsenal videos I was seeing on YouTube?
Here says, I love his profile, but Jesus is a beast, so I won't complain. And I think that kind of hits the nail on the head. They kind of got a player for half the price who's giving them just as much quality and the goals as well. But... yeah, I don't think they'll complain too much. But let's move on to the next game, shall we? Which is Fulham v West Ham.
Fulham v West Ham. The lineups for that are as follows. For Fulham, you've got Leno in goal. I'm so bad at saying his name. Adarabioyo at centre back. Tim Ream next to him. Suarez and Robinson at the back. Palhinha and Reed in the midfield 2. Pereira, De Cordova, Reed and Willian in the 3. And Carlos Vinicius up front for West Ham. On the other hand, you've got Fabianski, Zuma and Ogbonna at the back. Kufau and Cresswell. In the midfield 4, you've got Souček, Rice, Fornals and Bowen. And up front, Ings and Antonio.
Have you guys liked the signing of Danny Ings at West Ham? Considering how kind of...
Nothing's worked. No, tell me a signing that's worked this season at West Ham.
Funny question for you guys. If someone had said at the start of the season, Fulham, West Ham, Fulham would be the ones pushing for Europe, and West Ham in the relegation zone, you'd have been having a laugh.
Do you know what? I saw it at the beginning.
You saw Fulham doing this?
No, not
At
Fulham.
Liverpool.
West Ham.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the West Ham hype. I was never on the
see,
West Ham hype.
I would have thought West Ham's struggles would have came last year because I don't know if they could have done the back-to-back sixes
With
Europe.
Europa League.
That's when I saw them do sixth place finish and semi-final. I said, you know what? They might be
Fuad,
doing
it's a
something.
city.
Then
You
when
know
I
what?
saw
You've
the
seen it with
Scamacca,
Liverpool, though.
Then when I saw Paqueta come in, I said, you know what? Now they've added bits of quality. There should be no reason why this team goes back.
I hear it, but you know
So
what?
I personally, I can't sit here and say I saw this.
I did.
No.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
I saw this,
Yeah.
but I didn't expect when people are saying I still think they're going to maybe be in the top 6. I'm like, I'm not seeing it. You know what? Them hard seasons like they had last season. Ask Liverpool, they take the effect the season after.
Especially
It's
the
season after
mental
where it
effect
hits
of
you.
losing
Not
so
getting
close
what you
to
want.
getting your hands on a trophy and losing at not quite the final hurdle, but just before it.
Yeah.
That takes so
See,
much out of a team.
Pep spoke on how, like, when we've won the league or when we've retained it, so the ability to get the team to go again when you've won. Imagine trying to get the team to go again when you've failed.
Yeah.
And I think Moyes isn't that man. And I hate to say it, but Moyes' time is
You were
just...
backing him
say
earlier
this.
at Man U, and now you're throwing him under the bus.
No.
Hold on, no. I think Moyes is a good manager. Don't get me wrong. I think the way he went away and rebuilt himself and came back at West Ham.
Yeah.
But I feel like now sometimes things run to an end. Brendan Rodgers, Leicester. That sometimes things just come to an end.
You
and
have
it's-
you have to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you feel
that-
like the moment's gone to sack David Moyes?
I don't think. I think realistically, West Ham could still win a European competition this season.
I mean, yeah.
They could go down and win the
mad, innit?
Conference League.
Speak
I'm
on
sorry,
it.
I'm Conference League here. I've got it up. They've got Ghent in the quarterfinal.
Okay.
I'd back them. They've got Anderlecht or RZ if they win that, and then they're in a European final.
Hey,
So
don't sleep on the Belgians, you know.
despite how poor
on the
they've been
Belgians.
this season, they could realistically go
Yeah, they
down
could, that's mad. They
and
do
win a
Wigan.
European Cup.
That's crazy.
How cool is that? But also,
When Wigan beat us in the
I
cup.
don't know.
Remember when Wigan beat us in the cup final and got relegated?
West Ham fans, how would you feel actually? That is actually one of the maddest, almost
Yeah.
like juxtapositions, if that's the word.
They're unbeaten in
But
Europe
you're,
this season.
You're relegated out of the Premier League, so it's crisis mode.
But you know, Paqueta
But then
plays
you
like
won
Paqueta.
they're in
a
Europa
Conference
next
League. It's
season.
your first ever European Cup as well.
and they're in Europa next season.
Hey, I don't know, and I
would
believe
be
they
mad.
might have
Wigan
more
did
of
that.
They can keep the spine of the squad.
Yeah.
Look,
Listen,
Paqueta,
you might be
Paqueta,
doing
probably,
something.
Oh man, but that
Hey.
be. Yeah.
Paqueta probably wants it.
That's
It's the
nuts.
one thing that he can rise to is playing in Europe still.
Hey.
Yeah,
'Cause
but it's a
Wigan
massive
did
thing.
that.
But
Hi.
unfortunately, in today's game, it's not good enough.
That is
because
mad.
the
They
money
really could
and
win
the
it as well.
lucrative nature of the Premier League.
Parachute
Unfortunately,
money.
if you said but if you said this 10, 15 years ago, there would be a lot of clubs and a lot of fans that would bite your hands off for the trophy. But unfortunately, there's so many teams now because there's such a huge gulf in the amount of money in the Premier League and the Championship. Going down there, you don't know when you're next back up.
Yeah.
Sorry, what we're talking
Especially
on
with,
the
especially with a side like West Ham who have spent that much on their squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't lose
Sorry,
players.
just quickly on the Championship, salute to Vinny, who's got Burnley back
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
Yes,
big him
yeah.
up, big him up, big him up. Hey,
And he's changed their complete culture at Burnley.
I'm
Look at
curious
the
to
way they
see.
play.
I'm curious to see how they tweak their tactics for next year. If
Yeah.
they still keep this front
he
foot
needs to
football,
tweak it.
or if he
He needs
tweaks
to
it.
tweak
But
They like Bielsa's
let's,
Leeds.
let's move on to
Do
this.
not ever draw that comparison.
like
Never draw that comparison. You wait till we get on to
Rock
Frank
and
here.
roll. Hey, but let's move on to this Leicester Bournemouth quickly as well. Leicester have got Everson, Pereira, Amati, Wout-Weiss and Castagne in a back four. Victor Christensen, who's normally a left back in midfield. Wilfred Ndidi and Soumare starting today as well. Harvey Barnes, Jamie Vardy and James Maddison, the usual three suspects up front.
Leicester win.
And then Bournemouth, let me read Bournemouth lineup first actually. You might change
Leicester
your
win.
mind. Neto in goal, Smith at right back, Stevens, Metham and Kelly in a back four. Christie, Rothwell, Lerma, Utara on the left wing, and then Billing slotted in just behind Dominic Solanke.
That is I mean, it's an absolutely mouth-watering.
I'm not even going to try and gas that one up too much.
6 point, gas it up, mate. That is massive. Leicester down 25 for both teams. They're both in the relegation zone right now.
It is a 6-pointer.
It is a 6-pointer of all 6-pointers. I mean, it's massive so tight. It's so, of course. I would ideally probably want a draw, so neither side picks up too many, but I feel Bournemouth coming out of this. I don't have Bournemouth getting relegated. I want to see them play. Out of the other sides down there, I think they're better than Forest. I think they're better than Leicester. I think they're better than Everton. West Ham, Wolves are one as well. I think could drop in there. But
Forest home form's carrying them over the line.
14 and 27.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near over the line right now. 27 points.
I feel Forest home form will carry them over the line. Only their home form. But I think
the City ground, they've made it a
fortress.
But I've said it before, man. When you sign that many players to stay up, you need a mentality of a togetherness of a squad fighting for each other. And they've made so many signings, Forest, that they just don't, for me, have that unity and the power to pull through.
And let's just get through this other fixture as well, which is gonna be a difficult one.
Another 6 pointers.
Do you know one thing? I'll be honest with you. I hate having 3 o'clock kickoffs and being here. It's too many times now.
Every time I've been here with you and Spurs have been playing, you've drawn one and lost two.
This is one of those typical games where it's like Spurs
we haven't done Chelsea's lineup yet.
Informed Brighton. It's let me just go through the lineups before I start going on my monologues. Hugo Lloris is back in goal, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Romain. Some people will say these are the players that the system just works for. I feel like sometimes just try something new, try something different. The problem is I feel like we're in this weird position where we're fourth, and it's like, you know what? We're here by doing this. Let's just stick with it and see where it goes. However, we're not here because of the quality we've been playing or the points we've been getting. It's because Liverpool have been way off. It's because Chelsea have been way off. It's because Newcastle have been a surprise package. But before the Carabao Cup, we're throwing top 4 away pretty much till about the last 2 weeks.
Well, you are. So I mean, you're still not out of it.
We've just kind of been the one just sauntering through it.
But the thing today is who you're playing, though. You're playing Brighton. This is a team that could take that 4th place. So you can't be doing that. Well, if we just stay here quietly, no one will notice.
Well, they're not. You're just behind Newcastle, who are in 4th. Do you think you can catch them? Do you think you can sneak into the top 4?
Who us? I was saying last week. Listen, there's no reason why we should be discounting ourselves out of the top 4 race. It's there to be involved in. The problem is, I said at the start of the season, I don't see us predicting top 4, and that was with Conte in charge. Now without Conte, I'm not as confident, but to say we're not in the race, I think is foolish.
No, you're confident in the race.
What you want to see,
Newcastle,
is
3 points ahead. They've got
one game.
But what you want to see right now, right?
They've got 2 games now with 4 points. We're playing them today. For me,
that's what I mean. It's a massive game today.
Absolutely, which is why what you said today, we cannot.
No, you can't. And I think what you lot want to see
against a team in and around you, you cannot afford to let this slip.
And you don't want it to be ultimately the same team that Conte goes with, just hoping that now they've got no one guiding them. That you'd rather see, and it's a bit like what Pep was doing around January, February time, where it's like, do you know what? This might be our best 11, but if you lot are not performing, even just to test you, I'm going to bench you and give someone else a chance. Doesn't mean that if you step up and show me you want it, no problem. But at the moment, Dan Juma, come on, man, give him a chance.
Bravo.
Give him a chance.
In Ramadan, they won't give my brother a date. Come on, man, let my brother eat, please. Sign him on loan just to what? Lucas Moura, whose contract is running out at the end of the season, was still giving him minutes. He decided to go and do what? Go and get himself sent off within 5 minutes. Thanks for that. Like, this guy's been living off a 2019 performance for how long now? Dan Juma, for me, is a player who has shown his quality under Unai Emery. Has almost, in the Champions League last season, showed moments where you were thinking, you know what, this is a player that possibly deserves another crack in the Premier League. Comes in January where we need that big spark.
And did it.
Last season, I remember the thing that got us top 4 was that spark of Bentancur, Kulusevski in January, almost like, this is a fresh re-up. What did we do this year? We got Porro, we got Dan Juma, and it's like, all right, Dan Juma.
I don't get it, because
just call on the bench, and you know, who do you go to the local mosque, and we'll bring you in for iftar celebrations at the stadium. Like, come on, give me minutes.
Who are you dropping?
You know what?
Who are you dropping?
Who am I dropping? Son Heung-min has been dropping a stink all season. Please.
When a player joins a club,
you knew what you was doing there. Don't do that.
When a player comes to a different country and joins a club in the January transfer window, whether it be that long term he wants to play for Tottenham, or whether it be that he's coming over here to show his skills, right? He wants to be here to put himself out there. And the fact that they're not picking him is just mad, especially the way he started. Did he score 2 on his first?
Bro, if his first start in the FA Cup, he actually got us the goal that won us the game. So, and since then, he hasn't seen another minute. And I'm just like, what more can you do to kind of... I don't know whether he's dropping stinkers in training or maybe he's that. And I'm like, he doesn't strike me as that. No. So
my theory is it's just a Conte revenge on the board. Him saying, I didn't want this player, so he's not going to play.
Similar to Spence, you think?
A little bit, yeah, exactly like Spence.
Look at that right now.
He's not playing because I didn't sign him. Literally.
It's weird. And it's weird
horrible.
Because so many times people will say, the board backed Conte this summer, and sorry, the 3 o'clock kickoffs have started. By the way, some of them have just kicked off. But a lot of people have been saying like Conte's been backed by the board and things like that. And I said to Spurs' standards, where everybody's so used to us not spending any form of spending, is seen backing a manager. However, if it's within Conte's vision, like he was at Chelsea, like he was at Inter. He plays with the back 5. Give me 3 reliable, solid centre-backs. I'm going from Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni, to Dyer, Davis, Tanganga, Langley. Come on, my brother.
You know what? You man must be looking at Botman. You must be looking at Botman thinking, why were we not in the hunt for Botman?
Anybody who watches THFC show, me and Tobes, Botman, 2 years ago I was talking about. Badiashile, 1 year ago I was talking about. Evan and Ndicka this summer will sign for someone like Liverpool, someone will probably play well, and people say, why didn't Spurs sign it? All year I've been saying Evan and Ndicka's there available on a free. Just because you
get yourself on the board, mate.
Brother, I've been saying, get me on that board, brother.
You know what it is?
Paratici's in jail, you know. Paratici's in jail.
Look,
get me in.
Tottenham are crying out for a proper sports director
right now, man.
Bro, it is an absolute mess at the club. But we'll be keeping an eye on that game. And of course, lastly but not least, Wolves versus Chelsea. Thomas, I'll let you go through the Chelsea team.
Oh, thank you.
It's only right, haven't it? We got a Chelsea fan here.
Costa returning to his old club.
Lampard's first lineup.
We've got Kepa in goal, being kept in. Cucurella, Reece James in centre backs. We've got Fofana and Koulibaly in the centre backs. Bet Spurs wish they had both of them.
Brother.
You've got Enzo Fernandez, Mateo Kovacic, Conor Gallagher in the midfield, and then Raheem Sterling, Joao Felix, and Kai Havertz up top. Back to 4-3-3, change of shape from Frank, and hoping for a reaction, really.
Are you a fan of that shape change?
Yeah. I think we need somebody to take the players, just release the shackles. It's like the opposite of Spurs, right? We have Bruno, but they said we need someone with a bit more experience to come in as caretaker. And let's just go for it, you know? We've got Madrid coming up, let's just go for it.
Do you see big things changing with Conor Gallagher, perhaps, with Lampard coming in?
So Mount was injured.
Conor Gallagher, Mount, I was going to say.
No, I know Mount, but I'm saying the things he got out of Mount as a young Englishman, do you think he can do a similar thing with Conor Gallagher, perhaps?
I hope so. I mean, I think a lot of coaches in the past have just misunderstood Gallagher at Chelsea. Like, he was best at Palace when he was playing attacking midfield. And they've tried to put him in a pivot in a 3-4-3, and you're like, it's not working.
Yeah, he's not that.
You know, it's not him. No. And a bit like Mount, similarly.
Because he seemed a bit low on confidence to me, and someone at least putting his arm around his shoulder, maybe giving him faith, I think could maybe push him back. I'm not saying he's going to do what Mason Mount was doing under Frank Lampard, but
he's been great off the bench, Gallagher. I will say that against Liverpool in midweek, he came on and he made an impact. Like he worked so hard for the team, and in the role he's been given, you know you're going to get 100% from him. So I'm not surprised Lampard picks him at all.
Sterling. Saying that though, he's not good enough. Gallagher's not good enough.
I disagree with you.
So you're looking at If we look at the Chelsea team right now, right, your squad.
We're looking at
our squad's
defensively.
Our squad's a mess.
Defensively. Your squad on paper, their squad is so balanced and so full. On paper, yes, it is.
The only thing full is Koulibaly's gut, mate. Honestly, that is absolute calamitous defence.
I know. Obviously, you're a City fan and everything, but does every squad need to be teamed with quality players? If that makes, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Maybe in the sense
what I was going to say, you look at the balance.
I feel like sometimes though, you need those players that are just willing to.
But it's Gallagher. Yeah, I hear you. But you're looking at Gallagher.
I remember you guys had that with Fabian Delph, for example.
Yeah, no, 100%. But you're looking right. So you're saying that Gallagher's best position is kind of more advanced, right?
I would say.
And then you're looking at that Chelsea squad. When I look at it, and I look at Kovacic, I look at Enzo. Who are you dropping? Like Gallagher, you're putting Gallagher on.
I'm not saying he has to start every week.
Oh, in the squad? No.
We don't know how he's going to develop, but that's why I asked the question.
For me,
could Frank Lampard change him?
But a point on that though, he was offered a loan move in January and he refused. He wants to stay and fight, and he's happy off the bench. And if he's happy off the bench, he's a manager's dream.
I still don't think long term he's good enough.
And
for Chelsea.
again, though, he's 23. Players develop at different ages.
He's a manager's dream.
With Messi, Lingard.
Do you know
Players
what?
can
Though?
develop
I'll be
at
real
different
with you.
ages.
I'm not hearing
Let's not
23
count
is
them
young
out.
no more. I'm not hearing 23.
Of course,
is young.
23 is young. It depends
It's
on the
early
person.
prime,
Like
yeah.
I said, some people burst out of the scene like Wayne Rooney at 16, develop like an absolute animal. Some people
Gallagher's Leeds at
mature
best.
later on in their career. And
No,
Gallagher,
I
let's not
agree with
underestimate the
James
player we saw at Palace.
I think
I
he
agree
needs
with
a
James
proper
there.
shot.
Oh, and we have a goal. It's 1-0.
Brentford already.
Ivan Toney
Tony's
with
shock.
the first
From
goal
betting
of
on
the
Tony
season.
to betting on himself.
Tony,
has he
first
got
scorer
now?
paying out.
Hey, listen, 1-0.
He's going to be on the blower to his mates. Cash out now, cash out.
Listen, quickly, let me just go through the Wolves lineup as well. Jose Sarr, Nelson Semedo, Dawson, Kilman, and Totti in a back four. Mateus Nunes, João Gomez, Lemina, and Daniel Podence. And then up front, they got Mateus Cunha and Diego Costa. Just on Chelsea, though, obviously, Frank Lampard's first game. Sterling's back in as well. Are you happy to kind of see him, hoping he can kind of contribute?
Oh yeah.
Most underrated player in Premier League history is Raheem Sterling. Should never have sold him.
Thank
Most
you.
rookie mistake you ever made. If you still had him there, you would be above Arsenal right now. You'd be romping the league.
You know what? You can talk to me about how to win leagues when you win one.
I must say,
We won one 3 years ago. Thank you very much. So that's end of that conversation.
I must say-
and we didn't
that
have
was
to.
bad.
We didn't have to drop brown envelopes left, right, and centre to do it. You know, we did it with a
That
bit of
is-
class
that
and a bit
is
of culture.
nasty that you
With
just tried to drop
with a
that.
manager who actually taught your greatest manager everything there was about the
Okay,
game.
and
So
when-
let's
and-
talk. We're talking
hold
about
on.
levels.
So-
We'll talk
so-
about
so
Bielsa
he's
teaching
taught- hold on,
Guardiola.
he's-
If you talk, ask
So why
Guardiola.
hasn't he done
who's-
it himself?
Okay, let's ask Guardiola who the greatest
I
manager
know
of
the
all
answer
time
to
is,
that.
and he said Bielsa. So thank you very much. My point proven.
he's not your
Second
manager
point, If
anymore.
you still had Raheem Sterling, if you well, he won us the title. That's
yo,
true.
yo,
what's funny?
If you had Sterling, you'd be walking the league right
I'm a
now.
Chelsea fan, and I've got a Leeds fan doing my bidding for me today.
Bro,
Yeah.
this
I
is
love
so
it.
Well, Raheem
nuts.
Sterling,
it.
mate, honestly, I can't
I've
believe
never
people
seen
give him
this.
stick because he
I thought
misses a
Chelsea
couple of
hated
sitters. The
A couple of
work he
sitters.
does, consistency, the movement into the box, getting into the right areas at the
I
right
told you
times.
that before the show.
Mate, everyone can see that. What do you mean you told me that? Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I know you have a loud voice, yeah.
You said he's got a
but
good
firstly,
movement.
watch where you point your damn fingers. Secondly,
pointing
right,
fingers at nobody. What are you talking about,
Secondly, right, you were saying that he's
disallowed.
very consistent.
Oh,
in
disallowed.
front.
Oh,
He's not.
Brentford still
The man
0-0.
misses a lot, man. He misses
We're
a
just
lot.
enjoying. We're just enjoying.
He's
this.
still getting his numbers, mate. He's
Wait,
still
wait,
getting his
wait.
numbers.
So
a lot.
you've gone on for a bit. So
Okay.
talk to me. Obviously, you've had Sterling firsthand. Where do you kind of rate him?
He was right. Look, with Sterling, firstly, it's his ability to listen to managers and learn, right? Which is, it doesn't get rated enough. Secondly, he has to be part of a team with a lot of movement. And when the team are picking up other players, he will have the mind to drop back and find space. That's what he does. People say he's good to get in behind. He's not. When he's through on one-on-one, he overthinks it. He tries to go around the keeper, shoot and pass all in one and F's up.
Yeah.
Right? That's why penalties with Raheem,
Can't
they
do
often
it.
get saved, but he scores a rebound. Right?
Indecisive.
When he's got no time to think
Yeah.
about anything, that's Raheem at
There's
his
some
best.
great players are like that. Even
Oh,
Edison
no,
Cavani
yeah,
was one of
you
the
see
greatest
him-
strikers
you
of
see
all
him
time,
more
and he was an
and
instinctive
when people
finisher.
say
You
disrespect
see him
him
more
as
as
a
an
City fan.
instinctive player then?
100%.
Yeah.
And as a City fan, don't get me wrong, mad respect for him. We wouldn't have done what we did without his contribution, yeah? But ultimately, we sold him because he had 1 year left to go when we got offered 45 million on him.
Yeah, you got a good
right?
money for him.
You had to. Otherwise, he's going on a
What-
free. Same with Jesus.
What
It's the
have you
only
made?
reason.
What have you made of him so far this season at Chelsea? Because I personally, I feel like he's been kind of one of the underwhelming signings. But because there's been so much happening at Chelsea,
It's hard to judge,
It's
yeah.
kind of hard to judge as well. So I kind of do feel a little bit sorry for him. But then at the same time as well, I would have thought this Chelsea move would have been kind of the moment for him to really take a team and make it his own, if that makes sense. I feel
Agreed.
like at City, that's maybe he's been part of that winning formula, that winning team. But now he gets to be kind of the main man. Do you feel like he's taking that mantle this season?
I think, to be honest, the upheavals made it so hard, and the changes in formation, changes in shape, like 3-4-2-1 really isn't the best shape for him. A bit like with Mudryk and a lot of our new signings.
Yeah.
So I think let's judge him. Let's give him a run in a 4-3-3.
Get him a
much
striker.
intensity. And also on your point on him getting him behind, it was the same against Dortmund. Chelsea against Dortmund. Sterling had about 3 or 4 goes just on the keeper.
The goal he scored was so. I was here.
The goal he scored, he had 3 chances
but didn't he score? Did he score?
He did score.
And the goal he scored, I was here doing a watch long, and I said, "That is so Raheem."
Yeah.
Like
2 rebounds,
fumbling, but eventually he does it. Like he's in our top 10 goal scorers of all
but the
time.
thing to worry about is
so
not a
much,
forward
like-
who's getting chances and missing. It's the forward that's not getting any chances. That's the one that you really want to worry
the
about.
thing is, when
like
you
Werner
signed
was,
him, I said Raheem makes sense if they get a striker, right? If
And we
they
didn't.
don't,
And we
it
didn't.
doesn't, because he needs, like, don't get me wrong, with Haaland, he could have cooked, because when the defence is paying attention to Haaland, Raheem would find those pockets of space. So,
Question for you then, Romelu Lukaku. As a player, forget the club
Raheem.
stuff. As a player, would Lukaku get more out of Raheem
potentially,
than...
yeah. I actually said
I'm not a
that.
fan.
in some-
We had this discussion on a previous show. I would not have Lukaku back for what he did to the club. But as a playing style, would somebody like Lukaku get the best out of Sterling?
You were just slagging him off, mate.
Has he scored?
Your boy Heung-min Son. Told you should never have got rid of him.
Firstly, calm down. 1-0 Tottenham Hotspurs have scored.
VAR.
Nobody was slagging anybody off. It's called addressing the facts. The way Son has been playing this season has been stinky, but he has scored today.
He's got the Febreze out.
And he
Well done.
spoke on the fact that actually he feels he should have been doing more this season. He has spoken.
Voila. Like
Absolutely,
he
yeah.
himself has looked in the mirror and said what I said. So it's not I'm cooking it. He cooks himself.
well, let him cook.
1-0 early. That's the first goal of today. Hopefully more to come as well. We'll
Can you hold on to it?
The
Still
other
VAR,
goal
yeah.
got disallowed in the
Ivan
Brentford
Toney
game.
goal disallowed, so still 0-0 in all the other games.
The,
Hopefully
people
During the
cashed out.
Sterling debate, that happened.
Hopefully they
Bet
cashed out.
365 came in and just wiped that goal off.
I just want to
His
stay.
mate's raging at him now.
No, I just want to stay on Chelsea. Obviously, with Lampard coming in this week, it was kind of surprise news. I kind of want to get your thoughts on whether he can get the job permanently. And I've got a quote here that says, on his future, basically. He says, the feeling I have is that they want to do a process to find the right person to take this club forward. I'm here to do the best for now. I cannot get ahead of my station. I'm just here to affect this period. Then we will see. And his stats in charge are 84 games in charge of Chelsea. 44 wins, 15 draws, 25 losses. What for you as a Chelsea fan are the expectations from Lampard from now till the end of the season, if that's all he's in charge for?
So I just think you want to see a manager that's connecting with the fans more and is going to, no disrespect to Graham Potter, I am absolutely a believer that he is a great coach. For me,
Oi, I can't lie to you, I just saw that sun. That vintage sun right there. That's my son. Hey,
That is Son.
is that 18, 19?
Sonny, yeah.
19, 20? I
God
see you.
damn.
Yeah,
That's
mate. This guy only
top
scores
bins.
bangers,
You know what?
man.
The way he
That
uses
looks
the way
familiar.
the way he uses a
That looks
defender.
familiar.
The way he uses a defender.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's-
We have not seen that all year. All we've seen is hit into the first man.
Yeah.
Unable to beat the first
That's
man.
his 100th
Sorry.
Premier League
I
goal.
didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
that's-
that, but that is
That
a
is the 100th
That's
Premier League
good,
goal.
yeah.
100 Premier League goals for Heung-min Son.
Well done.
He's done
100
it.
club, bro. Well done.
Back to
I've always,
Chelsea.
listen, for the criticism he's held this season, I've always maintained he's still arguably our best foreign player of all time in my eyes. If you like, you could make a case for Spurs of all the foreign players they've had. He is.
And you've had a
Does
lot.
Bale
I mean,
count?
you were
You've
talking
had a
earlier
lot of
about
great
them
ones for
being
me
the originators
personally.
of bringing
I
in
think-
these European
Does
talents.
Bale count as foreign?
No.
Nah, Bale's
Yeah?
British. Bale's British. for me.
Okay.
Bale's
No,
British,
he's
and he's
Welsh.
homegrown like English as well, like out of an
Okay.
English academy. So for me, no, I'm talking like foreign export
Yeah.
coming in. But but anyway, 1-0 up. We'll keep you posted on all the other games. Just going back to Chelsea though, like what are the expectations for this season? You're saying, kind of give the
Just have a go. Just really the expectations. There are none.
so
in a
it's
way.
just vibes.
Just proper Chelsea. Just proper Chelsea.
So I
Proper
think
Chelsea.
the process for most Chelsea fans was when we saw he was potentially coming back, people were like, what? But then we realised that with nothing to lose and a manager in a season where a lot of people have felt disconnected.
You have got something to
We've got
lose.
Champions League, but we're not going to win it. I don't
Yeah,
believe
fair
we're going to win it. Okay, maybe look, if we do, amazing, but we're not going to. I don't think. But he's come in, and I think what his job is, and I think what he's been told to do is reconnect the team, the players, and the fans. That's his job, because Graham Potter, as I say, was a good coach. I still think he will be a good coach. A bit like Emery at Villa. Like, I think he'll go somewhere and do very well. But he didn't show the character and personality for a big club. And you're not going to have Frank Lampard saying in a small voice, the boys gave everything today. He's going to be fist pumping. He's going to be, and I actually think, much like Di Matteo, that might be the thing that gets more out of these players.
I was going to say that though, because
Adrenaline,
if he does get that emotion on side, let's say few of the players, have we said Gallagher, Mount, some of the players might already buy into kind of Lampard being that legend as well. Let's not forget.
I think some of the but some of the foreign players as well, Fuad.
But let's just say he has that kind of emotional side. Then a few results start to go your way. You're almost not back in Europe, but you do just well enough to kind of think, you know what, we're seeing a bit of progression here. Champions League, you maybe reach the semi-final.
Bloody hell, that'd be good.
Do you then keep him full time?
Not even if we win the Champions League, I wouldn't do it.
I don't believe that.
That is the most Chelsea statement I've ever heard in my life.
I will say that. You can have me back on, and I will say it each game we play. I love him. He's a legend. Go out on a high. If he wins it, whatever, go out on a high. We need to rebuild. We need to restart. Frank is a legend. He's going to have... This is a great chance for us to save a club legend. But for me, even if we win the Champions League...
Yeah, do you know what?
We need a new project.
It's what...
Papers over the cracks if we win the Champions League.
Thank you.
Yet again.
Again, that's
2021,
what it would be.
it did the same.
They need back that 38 games a season, Chelsea.
Yes.
They don't need another cup competition. They can do that.
Yeah.
They've proven they can do that with Di Matteo. They've proven they did that. They
need... We haven't had it in years.
Constant,
We haven't had a team that has even competed for the title.
I do think the other thing, though, is you're right with the young English players, but the other thing is with Potter is if you are Enzo Fernandez, they know who Lampard is, right? Lampard can sit there in front of Enzo Fernandez and tell him about playing the box-to-box role in the Premier League. He can tell them about being a legend midfielder, Whereas Potter...
doesn't have that experience.
They thought he was a character in a film.
All I will say, though,
it's that real.
All I will say on Potter, it's a shame because he's built his managerial career right from the bottom. You know, the 5th tier in Sweden, like Leeds University here. It's
Leeds
a shame that he doesn't. Leeds Beckett. It's a shame that he doesn't get that respect, and that a guy that's worked so hard to get a top 6 job.
Was he ever the right appointment for a club like Chelsea, though?
Not at this time. I always think it's not the right fit. I think somewhere like Spurs, he would be.
He turned that job down twice. No, we ain't trying to hear that no more.
But I can understand why you wanted him, because I think if he learns from his Chelsea experience, he would be a great. And I'm not even saying it as a meme.
And we have an equaliser.
Wow.
Brighton Hove Albion 1, Tottenham Hotspur.
Wait, disallowed already.
Hold on.
You're back in action, mate. Back into
We will be back very shortly. Yes.
So you could switch that question. So if Frank Lampard wins the
Champions League,
you're at Chelsea.
seriously,
Would you take him at Tottenham?
Nah, relax.
George Graham.
Wait. We're not moving to Tottenham or anything. Yeah, we'll keep your eyes on the score. But on that, I'm not having that because what I want to know is what does Frank Lampard then for you have to do to get this job permanently? Because in my eyes, I've just said to you, reconnect the fans with the club. Play better football so you can at least see some kind of progression, and then win the Champions League. In my eyes, if that is almost like
that's like Ollie at United.
No,
but he already
in a new manager.
All I'm hearing is Ollie's at the wheel. I'm hearing Ollie's at the wheel. I'm hearing Robbie Di Matteo, who got it at Chelsea after winning Champions League.
He did a double.
He was great, but he was great for the time that we needed him. And for me, we need a new project. Frank Lampard is not. With all respect to him, I love the guy. He's probably my favourite ever Chelsea player. He's not going to be the guy that is going to retake this squad, rebuild this squad, and build us into a team like Man City, like Liverpool in the past few years, like Arsenal. That's not him. I'd love to see him move
Arsenal
upstairs.
fans not have said the same about Arteta a few years back? And especially the only reason why I look at it with Lampard is he's been there and had his fingers burnt. There's lessons to learn. And with the Everton situation, you could say, all right, from that, he definitely doesn't deserve this chance. But now you get this chance. You actually take advantage of this chance. Is there maybe not even
Di Matteo.
1 year contract? Not even a 2-3 1 year contract. Let's just see rolling.
That sounds like Roman Abramovich. That's not what we want. No, that's not what we want.
What
the
you've
club
done
to
this
be.
year is pretty much Roman Abramovich, though, with the bringing
gave Potter
offensive
5
It's the fans, bro. It's the fans. It's not Todd. It's the
I
fans.
don't accept that because the club did not want to sack Graham
No, it's not.
Potter.
It's not
The
Todd.
club
It's
was
the fans. The
desperate
fans
to
are.
give him a chance.
Bro, it's the fans are forcing. Todd is not trying to be
Not
that.
just the
But the
fans.
fans are making. Bro, I honestly
just
think
the
the
fans.
reason Harry didn't. Harry. There we go. Potter did not get the whole of this season. Yeah, is because I think it got to a point where the fans were turning too
Untenable.
much. Bro, half of your fan base
Is that weak
online
leadership?
Because he wasn't getting the results. That's why.
They were
He
turning to
didn't
Bayern.
connect
They're
with-
becoming
No.
Bayern fans.
He
So I
didn't
think
connect
they're
with-
Bayern fans, I'm sorry, Chelsea are in 11th
some,
place.
yeah.
That is not good enough
Oh,
to
it's
stay at the
definitely not
club.
good enough, but that is their fan base is
But
wild.
All I will say is
demanding.
for a lot of Chelsea fans, if you're in 6th or 7th or 8th, maybe they'd have given Potter next season. And I think it got to a point after Villa where I think everybody knew he wasn't going to be at the club next season. And the thought was, if Stamford Bridge is going to be toxic and there's going to be a chance of you don't know what you're doing, let's just pull the plug and get somebody in who is not going to lose the fans, who's going to make the bridge somewhere where for the Madrid game there'll be an atmosphere that the boys will, I'm just using a Potter quote here, will give everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but
because the bridge under Potter was a really weird place.
Yeah,
'cause
but
no
I think
one
it all
was thinking-
started because of how they sacked Tuchel. A man won you a Champions League, and then
Yep.
you just go and throw him under the bridge at the first time he has a
You
tough
say you
spell.
want to do that with Lampard if he does it again.
because this was a discussion we had about
West Ham 1-0 up.
yeah.
Oh, 1-0. Harrison Reed on goal. 1-0.
No.
Which means, of course, Leeds getting dragged back into the relegation.
get out of
round.
here.
Get Bielsa
drag
back, right?
You love to
The
see
man
it.
that taught Pep everything. Get him back
I
now.
would love him back. I would love him back. I would take him back in a heartbeat, mate. But no, I mean, I can't believe you just tried to compare Arteta to Frank Lampard, though. Arteta was a man who came over. He hadn't been tested. He hadn't been
Don't
tested
do that.
as a main manager.
Wait,
No.
You're about to start
Let me
shouting.
cook. All right, I will
Yeah,
calm it down.
because I'm
Calm
about
it
to tell you,
down.
I did not compare the two.
Okay,
I
no,
used,
you
their
drew the
I
comparison.
compared their
They
situations.
should not be put in the same sentence.
Relax.
Arteta came through-
You put Bielsa in the same sentence as Pep, to be
Yeah,
fair.
Brother,
Pep put Bielsa in the same sentences as Pep. But no, Arteta came through, hadn't been tested yet. Even Pep again highly lauded him. Everyone at City was highly lauding him for the work he did with his attackers. Came forward at Arsenal. You could see things starting to build once he gave him time. Frank Lampard has consistently done nothing. He did nothing at Derby, took them from 6th to 6th. Did nothing in his first spell at Chelsea. No tactics, all vibes.
Top
did
4
nothing
in a
at
transfer
Everton.
ban is nothing.
Top 4 in a
FA
transfer
Cup
ban,
final
mate.
were cheated by a referee. Like
No, I wouldn't call that cheated by a referee,
haven't it?
mate. What did he win you? What did he actually do over the long term for the squad beneficial?
But you were the one that was telling
From
me
before and after he came
because
in.
you were the one that was telling me earlier when we were talking about West Ham how they'd rather not win the trophy, but they'd rather stay in the league. Now, a lot of fans would say, and I'm not one of them, you'd rather get top 4 than win the FA Cup and come 5th. And we got top 4 under him in that first season. No transfers in 2 windows. You can't say it's nothing. I agree.
I mean,
with
you still brought
I
in
agree.
Pulisic in that time.
We went Pulisic, but that was done before.
Yeah, it
him.
was done before, but he came in after.
I agree with you that this is why I'm saying I don't want him longer term, but I don't think to say he's done nothing. I
He
don't think
hasn't.
That's fair
What has he
either.
done to warrant himself coming back? I know why he came back, because he's the easy option for them to
But
bring
also-
in.
Well, he's
rebuild
literally
everything.
just said the
he
reason why they
hasn't-
brought him
that
in was
isn't. He
for an
hasn't, but
emotional
that's not good
factor.
enough
But
success for me.
my
for
But you know, the
Chelsea.
expectations were different.
It's different, yeah, I agree.
This is Chelsea. When Lampard went in at Chelsea, their expectations compared to Arsenal's when Arteta went in are very different.
different,
This
yeah.
is Chelsea, who, if they don't win a trophy every season,
Manager
Exactly,
takes the
but
role.
this whole transfer ban thing-
Arteta joined Arsenal
You
when they were
realise-
in a bad place. He's been
you
given, do you know
realise-
what,
no,
we need a project,
This is
man.
a point.
They
on,
needed
a point,
this project.
A point on Lampard v Arteta, and it is an interesting argument that Arteta was allowed 2 8th place finishes when Frank Lampard came 4th.
Yeah, but
the
he
club-
won an FA Cup in that time.
Fair enough, but the club did not see top 4.
Yeah, but look
in
at
a-
the squad
him
they
finish,
had
man.
before.
No,
Sorry.
maybe I'm
Sorry.
fine. The club didn't see top 4 in a transfer ban as an achievement. That's very different to
Yeah.
Arsenal, where they've let their coach have 2 8th place finishes.
Which
and
is
backed
right.
him.
Which is right to give him that project, but it's 2 different
But
things.
what I'm saying
man.
is
You
the
can't compare
mindset's
them.
different.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't,
I agree with you on that.
because
100%.
under this ownership, Frank Lampard wouldn't have been sacked the first time.
Yeah.
I think that's fair enough to say
Yeah,
based
I
off
agree on
of. So
Tuchel never happens then, though. Champions
doesn't-
League doesn't
Do you know
happen
what?
then, though.
I
This
get
is
why
also
you asked the
argument.
question now. Because if you put yourself in Bowley's head with what Bowley wants, which is a project, he wants a project.
Yeah.
He shouldn't
But
do
if
it with Frank.
Lampard comes in and gets Chelsea up to
No.
maybe 7th, 8th,
That's
right,
all
and
I'm
wins the
asking.
trophy,
That's
he
all
might
I'm
say, do you know
asking.
what? I ain't going to give no 5 year, but have a year.
No,
have a
But
year.
that's
See
the
what
old,
this-
let's
but
see where
that's
this
the old
project's
Chelsea.
going.
But that's the old Abramovich Chelsea where we paper over the
But
cracks.
here's the thing, though. Has he not caved to that older way of Chelsea thinking
No.
with this sacking of Potter?
No.
I'm sorry. For me, he has. Because what Bowley should have come in was say, I sacked Tuchel to bring in my guy, and I'm sticking
He
him
did.
with no matter what the fans say, no matter how bad results gets, this is my guy I've chosen. And instead, what he's done is results have gotten so bad, fans have gotten so noisy, he said, nah, let's sack it in. Brentford penalty there as well. We'll just keep an eye on that.
we know
But I
Scholes-
feel like
True,
now he kind of caved to the typical. Now you know what we need
No, I don't
success now.
think
Chop
so.
and change. You brought in Lampard. You're kind of hoping it will paper over the cracks till the end of the season. And I imagine a Jose third round will be
I
pending
don't
round
think
the
that the
corner.
club's under any
Bro,
illusions.
we could touch
That'd
on
be a
that
good
one another
decision,
day.
mate.
Bro, I've
The
said
club-
Lampard till the end of the season. Then Jose.
Jose.
Woo!
Jose's won everywhere he's been,
Hey.
aside from Spurs.
The club's not under any illusions. We are in a position where the squad, the players, everything's been papered over for year after year. We need somebody. I think the owners are more than willing to give a coach time. They saw flaws in Graham Potter after they gave him a lot longer than an Abramovich would have given him. Abramovich would have probably sacked him 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Whereas we gave Potter a go in the sense that after Villa, it was clear he wasn't going to be here at the club next season. So why try and waste the end of the season watching rubbish football and with a rubbish atmosphere
Let me
on the
just
ground?
read out some of the comments.
That
though,
would be
'cause there's
my
some...
point on that.
No, I hear what you're saying. Definitely
you
for
might
sure.
Be right.
I
It's
think
just-
some
we
great
don't know what Todd's
You just
doing
have to
no
pull
more.
the plug, like.
Yeah, big up the chat as well. Make sure you guys are getting involved as well. Some great comments coming in as well. There was one just here. Yeah, he said, Emmanuel Amu, big up yourself. He says, biggest difference between the two is Lampard has no clear style. 4-3-3 is not a style of play. Arteta always had a vision as to how he wants his squad to play. He
Agreed.
just had to wait to get the right players.
Agreed.
And exactly the players' point there is perfect. You say about the transfer ban, you still had an amazing squad compared to Arsenal's
Lost
squad is
Hazard,
completely
though.
different. And
Lost
you say,
Hazard.
and the transfer ban, people are like, oh, he didn't get to make signings. What Pochettino did at Spurs when they didn't sign anyone for 2 seasons, that's
Ooh.
what you call a quality manager doing something without additions. Not what Frank Lampard did
got
in a short
additions.
spell.
Ivan Toney
What's got
penalty
additions?
missed, by the way.
No, they went
Yeah.
they went 2 seasons without. Was it 2 seasons without signing a player under Poch?
One
or was
season.
it 1 season?
They had one
2
summer
transfer
window where they didn't sign him.
Yeah,
I-
and he
I-
got them
look,
to a Champions League final.
I think.
What are you
With
comparing?
Arteta-
Why are we
Pochettino
No,
comparing
to
to the
Lampard?
transfer ban, I'm saying, is in the way everyone
I'm not
talks
saying
about the
Lampard's
transfer
better than
ban.
Poch.
Yeah, I don't see that as that impressive because of the squad that they already had, and he had a new manager bounce
the
kind of
Chelsea
situation.
squad, the Chelsea squad at that time was not of as high a
It
quality.
wasn't
I
as
think
good as
you're
you're
making
saying
out.
it
They
is,
had to
yeah.
bring
Yes, it
through a
was,
bunch
man.
of academy players who at the
Mount,
time were being
few,
given a
but
chance.
they were great academy players.
Pulisic was a gamble coming in, had just been overtaken by Sancho
Yeah.
at Dortmund, and he had an
Yeah.
injury hit record. Tammy Abraham wasn't really a reliable goal scorer.
No.
Giroud was just coming in as a leftover. Like that squad.
It wasn't a great
Don't
squad.
try and gleam
It
it,
was
as
the
a.
whole thing
Like, I
was
remember
just a
when
great
you lot even
was
did
young
that
as
like
well.
Champions League run with Tuchel. I remember looking at that team and being like, I
What?
can't believe Alonso
Yeah.
is going to get a medal.
Bro,
Can't
yeah,
believe guys
yeah,
like this
yeah.
are getting medals. It's like,
Fuad, the fact is, yeah, when I look
is he
at
having
when,
Tony penalty quickly? Because he's not one who
goodness.
misses very often, so
He's
I'm
very
surprised
good
as
at
to how he's
Yeah, he
actually
doesn't.
missed this.
Oh, is it going to...
Oh,
that was awful.
very
That
poor
was
penalty,
bad.
man. Very poor, straight down the middle.
easy. With what you just said there about the Chelsea team that won the Champions League under Tuchel, because ultimately that was the Lampard squad, right? When I look back, I've been having this debate. Obviously, as a City fan, we always get hit with the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah.
When I look at last season when we lost to Real Madrid, right, and people
Yeah.
say that's a bottle job, I have to say that isn't. Losing in the
game.
final against that Chelsea team was a bottle job. 'Cause
Yeah.
that Chelsea team, in hindsight, yeah, I get it that Tuchel had built up. I think that was his 3rd game against
I'll
Pep
make
in a
some
month.
points on that, though.
But that Chelsea team that year in the Champions
City
League
team,
was
bro,
playing
that City
incredibly
team
well.
was one of the best City teams of all time.
I'll make
right?
some points on that. That firstly, I think you're right in that Pep not playing Rodri or Fernandinho
Playing
in
Sterling.
that game was bizarre. But you've got to remember that, as you said earlier, Chelsea were good with knockouts. It reminded
Yeah.
me, as a Chelsea fan, of 2008, when it was our first final, but Man United had done it a load of times
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And while actually we were probably the informed team in that game, people forget.
1-0. Sorry, Wolves, Mateus Nunes.
Oh my God.
Chelsea are down.
And And Frank Lampard is cooking.
Damn.
Oh, don't say that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that
everyone
just flashed right. I was like,
Get the pictures out. Remember last time he was in charge, in every game they lost, Frank got that little bit bigger.
Oh, don't.
listen. Let me just read out some of the comments as well. Silverona says Arteta had a vision. Checker says Arteta had to clear out the whole squad.
He lost him. I think
Arteta was given 3
700,000
years.
a week.
Lampard got sacked the first time he went into bad form. Arteta got given more patience and more lenience. Mad says, stop blaming the Chelsea fans. It was the players that turned on Graham Potter.
I think that's
Apparently they didn't. Apparently they didn't really turn on him. It was like they respected him. They just couldn't. Like they admired his tactical coaching. They just couldn't
vibe with him.
Sort of connect with it.
Yeah. AW says 2 sackings in one season and somehow Bowley is different.
I think it is. Yeah.
And then the main Anon says here, Lampard was clearly brought in to be a placehold manager so they can get a more attractive name in the summer. As funny as it is, it's not ridiculous.
No. They were interviewing people that day, weren't they? I think they had the Enrique interview.
Enrique came over.
And they've said apparently that interview went well.
It's just
he doesn't want till the summer.
Well.
And Zizzy here says, if it wasn't for Lampard, we would not have had Mason Mount or Reece James in this team. That's an interesting point, actually, because Reece James did make his debut under him as well, and really became.
He did.
He actually gave quite a few debuts. Tomori, I remember as well. Brozier.
Who else? Lots of players.
Probably Gilmore.
Angerin,
Gilmore at the time.
Restore the feeling. Hype. Get some points, Frank.
Apparently it was a cracking goal from Moyes. Absolute screamer. So, but fully deserved according to what I'm seeing too. So.
Did Tuchel bring in Mendy?
It was Lampard, actually.
It was Lampard, wasn't it?
It was.
I was just thinking of that
There was
earlier.
a lot of conversation on Lampard lost faith with Kepa, but Marina tried to make him stay and make Lampard sort of back him.
I think the faith might have been lost by... Was it Sarri before Lampard?
Who?
In Kepa, no, sorry. Actually, got on with Kepa. It was Lampard.
It was Sarri and Kepa that had the situation.
Yeah.
But that was like a flash in the pan that season.
He
He actually played almost every game other than that and the game after. It was under Lampard. He started making mistakes. Lampard didn't really want him. Mendy was brought in, but the teams wanted to keep faith in Kepa.
Do you know something that I see in Lampard? I don't like. So Lampard's come back.
Yeah.
One of the things, if he lost faith in Kepa before, could have been, do you know what? We're going to switch it round straight away. But Lampard seems like the type of player that does not, or manager, sorry, that does not hold grudges and will be an open book.
Oh,
with
Lampard,
everyone.
I think holds.
Do you think?
No, I disagree. He binned Rudiger for just took Rudiger out of the team for 3 months.
Didn't he give Tomori a 5-year contract and then bin him off as well?
Took Tomori out.
I'm wrong then.
He binned Jorginho
fully.
and Kovacic. Like there were flaws in his management.
There's definitely flaws in his management, but I thought he might be quite loyal.
And came in and immediately brought Jorginho and Kova back, and they were playing brilliantly.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are all reasons why, even if we get an upturn here, which it's not started very well.
Silver Roden here says Lampard keeping his Everton run going at Chelsea.
Don't give me that. Leave
London
me alone.
Nomad with the super chat as well. He says, do Chelsea even have leverage to sell some of their players on high wages for high prices? If not, they'll get another transfer ban essentially, and that is actually quite a good point because you guys are over kind of stockpiled on players.
Banger.
Yeah,
wow, Mateus Nunes.
That's all I've heard. It was a
To be fair, that pass was nice as well, but
I've heard it was an absolute
that took a little
screamer.
flick on. That is a clean volley.
Smoother than a baby's bottom.
You would dare I say. That is quality, man.
nice.
What?
He is someone who I think Wolves fan were expecting a lot out of this year as well, coming in from Sporting, but has been kind of hit and miss. And there's moments where you kind of see incredible quality for him, but then he does go missing. Do you think it's just an adaptation period for him?
There was talk Liverpool were going to go for him. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Liverpool was rumoured
Chelsea,
heavily.
There was talk that Chelsea might even go for him. I think he's class. He's just. I say change at Wolves as well. They're going from that 3-back to that 4-back. To give him time, and he'll be excellent.
I think
Premier League
I think the Neto injury really hurt them as well.
player. Yes.
And I think it's hurt Neto. Unfortunately, I think that could be Neto's.
I can't have that, I'll be real with you. We've been saying that for how many years now? I feel like almost for 4 years we've been sat here every single season saying that Neto injury is killing Wolves, isn't it? I'm like,
It's killed him
and
too
I'm
many
sorry,
times. I think
after
it
the
could be
second
done now.
season,
Yeah,
I always say
agree with you.
availability is the
important.
best ability. If
is.
you cannot be available
Well, I
for
like
the
that.
entire season,
You're spot on, bro.
and then
It's
a
like Chilwell and
second
James
season,
for us.
100%. I'll be honest with you. That's why I liked it when you lot went for Cucurella. It's like, hey, Chilwell, we love you. You're good, but in about 3 years, you played about 21 games.
What do you
can't
make
be relied
of
upon.
This is why
Cucurella, by the
he's
way.
been being linked with us. And I keep
Struggled
going,
this
no,
season,
with
but
our left
he's
back
had a lot
issues
of
we've had, I
personal,
don't want Chilwell. He's a great
circumstances.
defender, but
I'll explain. He's been burgled.
Sorry,
his
say that again. What
wife's
did you
been
guys
threatened.
say?
I was saying what you make of Cucurella because I think he's
been really
awful.
Yeah,
since he's come
he
in.
struggled. Oh no, that Brighton goal was there a while back. But it's been a funny season. He was burgled.
Huh?
He's had family problems. He's had a very difficult
Brian
season.
Nicholas?
Let's give him a chance. Let him settle. He's by all accounts he's had a really tough.
do you know,
year
I
off
think
the
he's
pitch.
looked better for you lot when he's playing left centre back
In the
as
back
well.
three.
In
Well,
the back
against
three.
Dortmund, but then last week against Villa, he made some mistake,
Oh, did
cost
he?
us a goal.
Right.
I was on this show last week, bigging him up, and then he did that and conceded a
'Cause
goal. And
the him and Chilwell thing could have worked with Chilwell at left back and him at left centre back. It could work, but
depends.
what are you
but-
looking at, Fuad? Something's
I
caught
don't
your eye.
know. Chat might be lying to me. I'm seeing a Spurs game. I'm seeing Brighton. No, it's a corner.
It's a
It's
set
a
piece,
corner.
so it's a guaranteed.
I'm
goal,
sat here
yeah.
having a conversation. I'm watching him thinking,
It's of my head was Lewis Dunk.
It said it on our system
Did it pop up
too.
1-1?
It did pop up 1-1. Yeah.
Oh,
God damn, Lewis Dunk.
Let me check my-
It's not.
let me
they're not
check
having
my
you on,
Ivan
mate.
Toney
I'm sorry,
bet
man.
builder to see if it's true.
Whose soul is about to get snatched is all I want to see. And I hate that. You see that man mark, that zonal marking
Oh, I hate
shit
it, bro.
where
It's
you're marking
awful.
nobody and guys get 5-6 yard run-ups.
It works.
Watch one of them.
It
Fuad,
works
I've
if
never
you got the right
Who's
players.
getting bodied? Open man at back post. Are you
sorry.
seeing this?
Under Pellegrini, we had that zonal marking. Yeah.
Disgusting.
If you get it wrong,
Shocking.
it stinks.
That's shocking.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry,
dead.
but
You
that
said
is
it.
Free
an
header. Where
absolute
people get the run on
thunderous
you.
header.
Bro, I literally called it 5 seconds earlier. You cannot stand there. Do you know what is the most annoying thing? When they stand there, look at them. They all ball watch.
Oh.
None of them watch
Free
to see
header.
if there's any movement. It's all like,
Free header, mate.
Nah, but on a corner, how you can do zonal marking, I do not know.
That's
Because you're letting
unbelievably
everyone get the
cool.
run and jump on you.
That's dreadful.
Lewis.
No, if you
Dunk
have
of
a
all
leader,
people.
if you have someone that can
Lord
command the
have
area
mercy.
well, it works. It does work if
You
you,
must
have the
have
right
seen it
players.
work.
You need you. I know what you're saying. That almost.
Have you seen it work?
No, I've seen
No,
it
but
work.
when
If
you-
you have
if
the-
you-
if
if
you
you
have a
have seen it
leader,
work.
if
There's
you have a
certain-
prime Van Dijk with his aura around him,
Not even a Van
command-
Dijk. I would have said even like Chelsea fans remember Drogba at the near post on corners
Yeah.
defending.
Yep.
Like if you've got that
Yeah,
person
yeah,
who you
yeah.
know
Near
certain
post, yeah.
zones,
Yep.
no matter what comes in their area, they're gonna compete and
Yeah.
win that.
I'm not joking, but
I can't look at Langley and think, who? Len what?
I'm sorry.
You are taking a bit out of it though. That is a beautiful. He is unmarked
but
in the
he's
back.
so
six.
unmarked,
Bro,
man.
I don't want to hear nothing.
That's training ground.
That is
move.
that,
He
no,
hardly
that,
jumped.
no,
He
but that's a
literally
phenomenal
floated
header.
in.
That's a phenomenal header. Top right.
Stellini
But-
is Conte with natural hair.
Bro, he is. Stellini is washed.
There's
man.
no difference.
He
There's
is
no difference
washed.
there.
You know what? I honestly
needs to
think
watch 'cause you
he
guys
ran
are stinking
Conte
up
and
the
said,
gaff.
bro, they're saying I can stay on, you know. And Conte was just like,
Nah, for me,
Secure the
I
bag.
actually think that's
Secure the
sneaky.
bag.
What did I tell you about Bournemouth, mate? Bournemouth
1-0.
Gary
and
O'Neill.
it lives up to the billing again.
Philip Billing.
Every game this guy.
Philip Billing, mate.
Hey,
That's my most
big up
used pun of
Diallo
all
in the
time.
super chat as well. He says Cam's right. Enzo can't move them legs.
Wish I could say I've seen.
Anthony sends another super chat as well. He says Spurs and Chelsea should have went for Big Sam. You know what? You're making a lot of sense, bro.
Tony
You
Pulis
are
is
making a lot
available.
of sense. Sam
Tony
Allardyce
Pulis
right
plays
now.
last back three.
Oh,
Give me it.
Sam would have Tottenham defending,
Bruv.
not zonal.
Bruv, man v man. Oi, listen. Billing 1-0 in the Leicester game versus Bournemouth, 1-0 in the Wolves versus Chelsea game as well. Wolves 1-0 up with Mateo
this is actually
Nunes.
a horrific day.
Spurs
Wolves
are
are
1-1
winning.
with Brighton. West
Bad
Ham
for you, yeah.
1-0 at Fulham.
Yeah.
And still 0-0 in the Aston Villa
Wolves, West
Forest
Ham
game.
and Bournemouth all winning, man.
Yeah.
Every time I come on here, it's bad news for me. Every single time. Everyone else does.
Chelsea haven't won.
I like bad
Blackburn
news
either,
for you.
mate.
Rich Torrens sent a super chat as well. He says, who is Chelsea going to sell when they won't sell to Premier League rivals? PSG won't do business with them again, and most of Europe can't afford their players. You're actually, I think, going to have to do like a fire sale where you sell players on a cheap.
Yep.
Oh, Solanke
wages are gonna
capitalising on a error
Oh
from
my
Maddison
God.
as well. Who
That is horrific. I mean, it's a beautiful ball. Don't get me wrong, but
oh, was it? Billing, sorry, yeah.
yeah.
He's been one of those underrated players, I feel like, this season as well.
He's always been delivering for them, man, this year.
Stuck with them in the
second half of the season,
which you got to respect. Chelsea
Speaking of underrated players, actually, there's an underrated segment I want to do here. And guys, get involved in the chat as well, because I always love picking people's brains in here. But let's try and create, if you like, an underrated Premier League 11. Is what I would say.
One of those names right there.
We can run through it. I can give you some suggestions here, but let's try and create like an 11. So if we're going to go in goal, and you're going to say an underrated goalkeeper in the Premier League this season, who would you guys put forward? And guys, get involved in the chat as well, because I'm sure we might have some answers, but you guys will always have some more as well.
Fraser forced to get a shout in there.
Do you know what? I already like a shout that's come in from Sharon Samuel. Big up yourself. Still at Brighton. Yeah. Since he's come in there replacing Sanchez, I think he has been quality. Let me just read out super chat as well quickly before we get into this. Start revising your relegation picks. Leicester are getting relegated, says Garbo Staunton. Appreciate that, man.
Jesse Marsh coming in.
Mate, that's an interesting one. But I think we'll get onto that in a bit.
So, who you guys picking as the goalkeeper or potential nominations, if you like? There's a lot of shouts coming in here. Keep them coming.
Steele's a good choice by the...
David Raya?
It's been a steal.
What do you think?
Pope's been all right.
Not for me.
Pope's one I'm seeing as well.
Is he underrated? I don't think he's underrated.
I'll give you an underrated one. And I've got to big him up as well. Checkers. You've been throwing in some great comments all throughout the stream.
We're going to say
Bernd Leno.
Yeah,
great shout. To me. Because everybody wants to rant and rave about Marco Silva, Palhinha, and the Fulham team. But he has been in goal. And I think the way he got rubbed out at Arsenal... He's restored some respect on his name, I feel like.
Yeah, no,
when you talk about underrated,
no, I think
he's not rated.
Harshly done,
that's just some good names in there.
But
there's some good names in there. Yeah, Steele.
I like that Leno shout.
Someone that you really talk about. I wouldn't put him in the upper echelon of goalkeepers.
This isn't upper echelon.
Upper echelons are going to be rated, aren't they?
Yeah, it's hard though, because whenever a goalkeeper starts to have a couple of big performances, it's such a watch position that usually people do start to talk about him. But Bernd Leno isn't one that I've really heard a lot of plaudits for, really. So that's actually a really good shout.
I like that one, yeah. Raya's another one that's coming in a lot. The thing is, I feel like Raya gets
overrated.
And he's linked with Spurs, and I think he's a good candidate, actually. I think he should be the primary target we go for. Ooh. Penalty at Brentford again. We'll see if Tony can step up and swat this one away.
One disallowed goal.
Maybe it's not Tony.
Big up Jallo with another super chat as well. He says he's an elite baller, by the way. The Prem will expose you. He's of course talking about Enzo here, referencing his earlier super chat. Tina sends a super chat as well. She says everybody thought Brighton gonna drop off when Potter left, but De Zerbi, oh my god, the comments are flying in. De Zerbi keeps them flying high. Manager of the season candidate.
Let's see how they do next season.
Does De Gea get in anywhere near for you? Because a year ago, people were saying because people were saying he was completely finished about a year or two ago.
You are not going to fight the Leno one. I'm not saying I would.
I'm just throwing a name in there.
It's not that point.
Because people were saying he was completely
even have that name discussed.
No, people saying he was in conversation
that you've even brought up David De Gea.
It's not
David De Gea is for me overrated.
No, but everyone was saying
fluctuates. He's like a roller coaster. He's up and down and up and down.
He is not for me.
But for a goalkeeper, you need this, not this. And this is De Gea.
I'm sorry, De Gea.
This is what you need with a goalkeeper.
De Gea.
You need a pair of safe hands,
please, man. No, I'm
or a safe pair of hands.
I love a nice.
Pass him down, man.
Yeah. As cold as Chelsea's rubbish performance today.
As well, by the way.
There you go, mate.
I'm passing. I'm good.
So who is it you've got in goal so far?
Leno seemed to be the best shout.
So goalkeeper, we need to lock in. People have said Raya, Leno.
This time.
Raya and Leno are the two.
Ivan Toney,
1-0.
Will this one get taken away from him, like his betting winnings?
Hey, all of his mates on Tony first goal. They're gonna.
So let's get a lock slotted in for this underrated 11. Actually. Tom, where you going?
I will go for the fellow in the chat, Bernd Leno.
Bernd Leno. I'm going Bernd Leno as well. I agree with that one.
I'm trying to.
Where you going, James?
I'm trying to step out
You've
the box.
completely
Chat
swayed
did
me
it
with
for
that.
us.
I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that
Yeah.
is probably a better
I was
candidate.
probably going to have to be Leno because I'm
Yeah?
trying to think of one out of the box. But
Our names
Yeah,
were
so,
I walked in and heard De Gea, and I'm thinking, pardon.
You try to throw a curveball in there. I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it.
It's a conversation.
Let's move on to the right back. Who would you say is an underrated right back this season that hasn't really got their flowers?
Luke
Tarek
Ayling
Lamptey.
has to be given a shout, since he's come back in the second half of the season. He had a very impressive
Tarek
month.
Lamptey for me.
Ooh, Jose
Lamptey.
Sarr is a shout as well.
Sorry, I don't think so.
And we saw last season.
Yeah,
possibly,
last season.
Ask a question.
Last season.
Are we with
Half
this?
time in it.
Half time in the Chelsea Wolves game and half time in the Leicester Bournemouth. Those are both
will
1-0
Ivan
Wolves
Toney do better?
and 1-0 Bournemouth up there.
Ooh, he did.
He's
Tony
still
went
close
same
to getting
place.
saved that.
Yeah.
Right, with this,
Ooh, look
right
at that
back,
XG.
are we saying Ben White has been given his flowers?
Yes.
Yes.
Right,
Like
okay,
that
yeah.
is like
Everyone
that for
rated
me
him
is
well,
not
3 years ago.
underrated.
Yeah.
Like
No,
he is
but that's
rated.
why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Are we saying
I'm not
he's
talking
now
about
got
those
3-4
guys
years
who-
ago, Ben White.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. So you're
Facts.
looking for the ones that really.
I'm not
aren't
looking
being-
for the guys who we talk about every week on the show. Say, oh, he's sick.
Only
He's
Emre.
no.
Yeah,
No.
Tarek Lamptey.
Let me give you some nominations. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a unanimous one coming in, and I think this season the
I
way
think
he's
so.
stepped up, the way he's improved his game, you cannot dispute. Especially consider he was being offloaded in the summer. First
Yeah.
half of
You
the
can
season
go further than
was
that.
He's
in the
won his
complete
place back,
wilderness.
you
He's
know.
won his place back.
Yeah.
He's actually playing much better.
Delo is being spoke of as one of the best right backs, yeah,
Facts.
right. And the truth now is that United look worse with Delo. When they've got Wan-Bissaka, they look better. So I was thinking Wan-Bissaka straight away. To be fair,
But yeah.
Kenny Tete is another one at Fulham.
Tete's done well.
Yeah.
Tete, I've seen him in certain games. I've seen him play really well. I can't say Kyle Walker-Peters is another one as well.
I think
XG.
overall he's
Big up
underrated.
Ibby
Not
as
just
well.
this
Look at
He's a
that
season.
super
XG.
chat.
Fulham,
Peters is
West
lethal.
Ham.
Yeah, mate, that is horrific.
0.03
Those two games,
XG.
I mean, Chelsea, Wolves, and Fulham, West Ham have a combined XG of less than 1.
Nasty.
I think.
Nasty.
Do you know, it's
Ibby,
a-
Ibby
it's a-
with the
it's
super
a
chat
pity
here.
to
He
see
says
Fulham
the Fulham
dropping
right
off.
back for me, Tete, I think it is. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Tete shouts
This is
coming
going
in
to
as
be the
well.
Fulham team, though, because nobody.
What,
sees
yeah,
it.
No, it's a very valid
Underrated
point.
team.
We have to remember.
Well,
Fulham just got
this
promoted.
is where there's 4 of us.
Yeah.
Let's add some variety. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Well, I said Luke Ayling deserves a shout
like
because
that.
even
I like that.
Leeds fans were throwing Luke Ayling under the bus at the beginning of the year. Said Rasmus Christensen's the new Don. Luke Ayling deserves to be kicked out of the squad. And then second half of the season, in the last spell of Jesse Marsh and early on to Javi Gracia, I think he's been thoroughly improved. I think he's been a massive part of how we've moved up the table.
I don't know if
Matty
Lamptey's
Cash?
there,
Yeah, Cash is
second
a
half
good
of the
player.
season.
I like Cash.
I think with Lamptey, there's a certain bit of we know Lamptey can be good. So I don't know if he needs.
He's
the
broken
flowers.
out this season, but yeah, I'll accept
Injuries
that. I'll
have
accept
kind
that.
of held him back a bit, but I think we know Lamptey can be a good defender. I think Kyle Walker Peters.
Walker Peters.
He doesn't get spoken enough. I think
give me a
he's good.
pick.
I can't go Kyle Walker. The Fulham man.
Tete.
Tete.
You're going
thank you.
Tete?
Yeah.
Who are you going, James?
You got to call it bias, but I'll go with my boy Bill Ayling. Yeah.
I'll go Aaron Wan-Bissaka personally.
And I'll probably go Walker Peters.
Damn,
Because for
4
me,
different picks.
Tete was at Lyon. Like, Tete's been in the Netherlands team. He's been at Lyon. Like,
Yeah,
people
fair.
have known he's a good player.
What we'll
So,
do is we'll put that one down to the chat. if
yeah,
anything.
nice poll.
You guys can let us decide who the right back is. So you've got Tete, you've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Luke Ayling. And those are the
Peters.
Kyle Walker-Peters as well, yeah. So you've got 4 options there. Let us know who you would pick as your right back. And then let's go centre-back pairings. Give me 2. 2 centre-backs who you feel like have been underrated this season.
This is
Again, if you want to look at Fulham again, Ream.
Tim Ream?
Yeah, Tim Ream. I think he's a shout. I don't hear too many people talking about him. I think he's been very solid this year.
Levi Colwill.
Levi Cole.
Ooh, nice shout from
I'm
Brighton.
a little bit of Chelsea bias
course,
coming
of
in
course.
there, but I will big him up because he's class. No one
Class on grass.
See,
No one heard of him,
These are
obviously,
the-
other than Chelsea fans for start of the season. So I think he
Voba.
deserves-
these are the shouts I'm looking for. Yeah.
Cock
Anadactyl, big up yourself. Craig Dawson. Yeah.
he's been alright.
CK's rack. Ethan Pinnock.
I was
I'm
going to say
sorry.
Pinnock, yeah.
He has been
Yeah.
quality this year.
I agree with that
Even
one.
Ben Mee.
Is he a left
again.
centre back or is he a left wing back though? That's the thing. No, because Rico Henry's a left wing back, isn't he?
Rico Henry's
he's
wing back, yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Rico Henry.
And Ben Mee's quietly done very well at Brentford too.
As
Obviously, people
Pontus
knew-
Janssen. Give my boys some
Pontus,
credit.
yeah.
Here's
I've
one.
got the Swedish blood, mate. I love the Swedes. You got to allow
Do you?
that.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Do you guys still see Gabriel at Arsenal still as underrated?
Yes.
You think he's underrated?
Yes.
Huh.
It depends if you're talking
in the
from
sense
the
of-
beginning of the season or not, because everyone's been banging on about Gabriel the entire year.
But still, I have this conversation with Arsenal fans, and most of them are still putting Saliba over him. You got to remember how young he is, right? Because with Gabriel, I think because he's been in the league for a couple of seasons, you forget that is a very young centre back pairing, right? I think that Gabriel leads that
How
line,
old is he?
not Saliba.
I've got another
you said
name.
20
I think he's 22 or 23.
Because you said 23 wasn't young earlier on,
yeah, fair
so
point,
I'm just.
fair point. Jesus.
That's what.
I just
got
want to know
another
his.
name.
I'm just curious, you know. I'm just curious.
I look, it's like the Ben White thing, because I do think Gabriel.
He's 25.
Right, so he's not young.
I've got
He's not
another
young.
name.
Someone told me he's
another
young. He's
name
not young.
there. Esri Konsa. I think Konsa's been really nice for Villa this season.
Oh, I
don't
don't
know,
want a
I-
centre back to be nice though.
In that Emery back four, I'd say no one's spoken about Aston Villa. I think your Mings and Konsa back two has actually been really effective.
Mings has got a second going under Emery.
Mings isn't
Yeah, but he's got a
underrated.
mistake in him.
Oh, we all know that.
He's not who you. I wouldn't trust him in a crunch game.
Listen,
Mings
last
isn't underrated. I
last
agree.
game of the season between City and Villa, right?
Right.
Mings had the best 65 minutes I've ever seen. Yeah, the man was unreal, and I'm thinking, how is this man playing like this? And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
So you are right.
Key
There's
lack of
another great
concentration.
pick.
That's why Konsa next to him is.
Big up,
Yeah.
big up Yusuf in the chat as well. Aguerd at West Ham.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
For me, he is almost a lock. If we're talking underrated 11s,
and Zuma's been
not
bad
since the
this
World Cup. Since the
Zuma,
World Cup, when you know how good he was.
Zuma.
Before the World
think-
Cup, I agree with you.
I think he is one of
I'm
those.
sorry, if you're going to throw Aguerd in there, I don't want to sound biased, but I'm going to have to put Voba. Since he signed, he's been phenomenal. Voba has been phenomenal. I mean, he's injured now, unfortunately, but since he signed, he completely revolutionised our defence. We went from a defence leaking more than your taps during the summer to now. It actually looks like there's some sort of solidarity there. He formed a really good partnership with Koch. Don't get me wrong, I love Koch as much as the next guy, but he didn't have the right. You evil man. But he did not have the right man next to him. But with Voba in there, he's formed a really strong partnership, and it completely changed us. And now we actually look like a side who can keep the.
What do you
clean
guys
sheet.
think of Bella Kotchap as well?
Great
Bella
player.
Ketchup,
Really
yeah.
like him. Yeah, great shout.
Give me your two picks. I've given you a couple of names there. Aguerd, Wolba. There's one I think as well that we probably haven't touched on, but I think is arguably the most underrated player, I think, this season.
If you say Lisandro Martinez,
Please. We know people who know me know I rate Lisandro, but I don't think this guy, your boy, Nathan Aki. I think, and let me land here because I think he's playing out of position at left back this year as well. I think, and then at the same time he plays his left centre back role, and then sometimes he picks up these midfield positions. I'm like, you kind of can't really put your finger on his position, but I love how he came into City and people were like, oh, he's going to be a squad player. He'll be sold off in a year or two. One of the first names on the team sheet this year.
For me,
when I hear the team of the year, I will be very shocked if he's missing.
Bro, for me,
Who expected that start of the season?
So the reason I didn't say it is because, same like Ben White, I feel Nathan Ake right now is getting his flowers that he deserves. Remember, in the summer, man offered 45.
We did, yeah.
And City said not enough. We were considering it. We went and tested the market, came back and said
He's
not enough.
ex-Chelsea.
Right? Now, the minute I was at the City Bournemouth game, right, which was, I think, our second or third game of the season, and instantly I thought he's going to be important this season. I didn't realise his pace.
This important.
Right? His pace. And the way we were at that point, inverting the right back and whatever, and we were open down the left-hand side. Every time he snuffed it out.
Yeah.
And then when we got rid of Cancelo, I said, right, my issue with Ake is defensively sound. Better than Zinchenko, better than Cancelo defensively.
Yeah.
My issue was going forward. However, him and Grealish have created this understanding. Yeah. And like Liverpool last week, first half, he wasn't going forward. He was holding his position at the back. But then when needs be, he knows how to overlap. And this season, how quickly he's understanding how to do the Pep role is insane. World Cup, for me, he was Holland's best defender.
Yeah, agree.
even now, he's still stepping up. You know, we've got Holland legends calling out Van Dijk. They ain't calling out Ake.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, I'm saying he's not.
So
he's not
here's what I'll say.
overrated.
I'll go out on a limb and say
Underrated.
he's a lock for the left back position.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
For the
Just-
underrated 11, is there anybody else you can think of? Because I'm going Ake
Senior
for the quality.
But we haven't done the centre.
I'm going to start taking his mic away if he does this one more.
Yeah.
But, all right, Ake left back, we got
Centre-halves.
locked in. Right back was still up for debate in the comments as well. Centre backs, let's get that locked in. You've had Aguerd, you've had Wolber, you've had Bella Kotchap. Give me your two.
I'm going for Levi Colwill, and I'm going to go for Ezri Konsa.
Colwill and Konza. Who are you going?
Voba is one of them.
Shameless.
Oh, the other one's tough, man. The other one's tough. You bring up a good point with Gabriel when you talk about people putting Saliba over him. I don't know if I classify him as underrated though, but
Yeah,
I can't
same.
feel a strong enough sense for anyone else. So I'm gonna put him
Gabriel?
in there. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in there.
Gabriel.
Yeah, it's tough. I wouldn't call him underrated.
I don't
but
think he qualifies for me.
I don't think-
for how, if you're looking at what people expected at the beginning of the season.
If you're putting Ake in underrated, I think you can put Gabriel
To be
in
fair,
underrated.
that's a fair point as well. I think it depends what you
I just
define
think the
it as.
standards of
At
what
the
was
beginning of the
expected
year-
for both. I think Gabriel, you definitely expected him to be
Yeah.
a solid
No,
centre
but
back and a
after the first couple of games
regular
you did,
starter.
but
Nobody
beginning of
looked
the
at
season,
Ake.
no one did.
Nobody
Not
looked at
beginning
Ake
of
at the
the
start of the
season.
year and thought he is going to be A, a regular, and B, playing this good.
No, but
You
nobody
could see
thought
it in
that Gabriel was going to be
You are
arguably
comparing
player
the
of the
Gabriel thing in
season.
comparison to
Okay, but
Saliba
at the
too
beginning
much.
of the year,
Yeah.
if you said he was, a shout for team of the season, would you have expected that?
I
Or would
wouldn't
that have
be
been a shock?
surprised by it.
So on that note, then
Before the season started?
I wouldn't be.
Saliba-
I personally have always rated Gabriel. I think he's a
I
good
mean, well, I
centre
wouldn't
back.
spit the tea out of my mouth at someone saying it, but I would be rather intrigued.
should Saliba
Tim
be
Ream?
underrated then?
Yeah.
Minor Konsa and
Would
Colwell.
that not be a better shout?
I
It was, and I did say it
You've got
earlier.
Konsa respect
I think
that.
Tim Ream.
If I think it comes
You
from Colwell,
sway-
I would have
you
gone with
swayed
Gabriel.
me, though.
No, but
You
the
did sway
Gabriel
me.
Hype, stand on your own words. Stop
I'm
letting the
here
next man
with
sway you,
Gabriel,
bruv.
but-
What's wrong with this?
I did say my own words with Voba. I'm sticking to my guns with that one. Best defender.
So you're saying
since he
Wolber
signed,
and Ream.
but- No,
Wolber and Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Cool. Your two?
Colwell and Konsa.
Colwell and Konsa.
Yeah, just because
I
Gabriel I
will,
put in
I
there.
will
but
go Colwell as well, but I will go Bella Kotchap, I think.
So it's a second spot.
Yeah,
we're
the second
undecided
spot
on.
is kind of undecided. So let
The
us know in the
chat.
chat. That one is
Yeah.
up for grabs.
Vober or Bella
So
Kotchap.
basically, Colwell is in,
Yeah.
And you've got
and then
Konsa,
it's Konsa or
Woba.
Wolber or Bella Kotchap.
Yeah.
So
who's leading the line?
that will be an interesting one. But let's move on to midfield now. Sorry, I'm just jotting the team down just so we're kind of keeping it. Left back, we've already kind of decided Ake.
Yeah, I
but
think
then
so.
people have thrown in a Dan Burn shout as well, which is kind of
You
interesting.
could, well, if you could push Ake into the back, into centre back. So, or you could say Ake's.
I'll keep
getting
Ake
his
at
flowers.
left back. I think Dan Burn's been great, but I think Ake's been another level in my eyes personally. But midfield, let's go. Where are we going for defensive midfielder? Who has been the underrated one? I can give you one name off top straight away, and I'm thinking Romeo Lavia.
Romeo Lavia,
I'm
yeah.
thinking James Ward-Prowse potentially.
Nah,
Granit Xhaka,
Lavia
Calvin
for me.
Phillips.
100%.
Willock,
Not a chance.
Lavia for
McAllister, Casado. I feel like Casado's a little bit rated now.
Again,
Casado
if
will
depends
have
on,
you.
on what you're saying at the beginning of the year, Granit Xhaka. Nobody would have seen Granit Xhaka doing this.
I'm not doing comparison.
about DM?
here.
Yeah,
I'm just
DM.
talking about, do you feel like this player is rated or underrated? It's your
I mean,
opinion.
Lavia's been pretty rated.
Lavia's been
Granit
rated,
Xhaka, I
yeah,
still don't
but
think he's talked enough.
Start
about
the
what he's
season,
been.
no one said Lavia was going to be like in the conversation for like a 60 mil or very big transfer.
I can tell you one fan base that would.
Chelsea did.
No,
Chelsea went.
No, there's one other fan base that would have.
You boys.
City.
Yeah.
Well,
For the last 2 years, the way this man's name has been spoke about by all the City lot that go to the academy games, is like they don't understand why he's not been getting more of a
No,
chance.
that's
I'm
why I
contradicting
can't believe we didn't
you.
get him. Because we
Just,
gave you Calvin Phillips and we
45
got
million
JB
buyback.
instead of
45
Lavia.
million
Just so we
buyback.
don't spend too long on this, I want you lot to give me a 3, because the forwards I'm thinking might be quite... We might be here for a while, you know what I'm saying? But the midfield 3, if you had to go and pick 3, who would you pick? Ward-Prowse, you've got Willock, you've
Start
got
the season, there's
McAllister,
people talking about McAllister. I don't think there were.
you've got Bentancur you can throw in there. Ward-Prowse, Lavia, as you said. Like, there's options. So give me a 3.
Caicedo.
The 3, I personally, I'll get the ball rolling. I'll go Lavia as my DM, Bentancur, and then Granit Xhaka. I think Granit Xhaka, the fact that he's got 7 league goals, and it's the manner of goals, it's the positions he's picking up. He's almost like the most advanced. He's more advanced than Odegaard at times, and it's. I think what Arteta's done really well is he's realised, look, too often we've been trying to turn you into a defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder. Let's get you as little touches as possible on the ball. Just get on the final end. Get on the final actions, and I love that. And I think he's someone who I've always liked his mentality and attitude, but I've always thought his footballing ability maybe hasn't matched up. Arteta's found a way to utilise.
It's almost like Jordan Henderson in a way at Liverpool. You need that leader.
And that's what I was saying earlier, icon. Where in a team where you was kind of saying with the Chelsea team, what does Gallagher or Mount or fit? I think sometimes you need those kind of players.
I think Mount's got that.
Yeah.
I think Mount definitely has that.
But that's why, again, I don't know.
That would be my midfield 3, because I don't want to.
I don't think he's rated enough.
I
think he's been their best midfielder this year.
Facts.
I'd put him over Odegaard personally.
Partey's been kind of cold. Odegaard's been cold as well.
They've had so many good midfielders.
I'm not going to have another debate, but that's my midfield 3. Lavia, Bentancur, Xhaka. Who are you going?
Chelsea went for Lavia in the summer after you sold him to Southampton. So now I'm thinking, do we put Lavia in? I'll put Lavia in. I will go for Xhaka like you guys, and I will go for Caicedo double pivot with Lavia.
Okay.
Caicedo. I go for Xhaka, Bruno Guimaraes, and Caicedo.
Does Joe Linton deserve to get in there?
Personally, I feel like Bruno's rated.
Joe Linton.
I feel like Bruno's rated. I don't feel like who doesn't rate Bruno would be my question. I think you ask anybody, do you rate Bruno? They'll be like, yeah.
It's a similar thing with Xhaka, though.
If you ask anybody to talk about Newcastle, one of the first 3 things they bring, Bruno, he's brilliant, isn't he?
Well, if you look at the Newcastle team and say, in 5 years' time, once they've really started spending, tell me a player that's still going to be there. Every single person will say Bruno.
Who's your 3?
Lavia, Bruno Fernandes. I think he's underrated. I think United's fan base underrated him.
Okay.
And Caicedo.
Caicedo is looking like Caicedo's made it then.
I'm changing mine to Joe Linton, by the way.
Over
Linton's a shout as well. I was thinking
Joe
that.
Linton.
Wait. So who are you taking out?
I would take
Lavia or Xhaka?
I'm going to take out Lavia only because I actually don't think he's underrated. Chelsea
it's locked because each player has 2 picks anyway. So we've got Lavia, Caicedo, and Xhaka is the midfield 3. I think that's decent, to be fair. And I think it's kind of worthy. Let me just see what the chat has been saying as well.
It's still a nice team,
I really think I think the chemistry of Xhaka, Zinchenko.
Oh my God, how can we forget Palhinha? Philip Billing. This is why I like the chat. See, Mateus Nunes.
They are right on Palhinha.
Palhinha was rated.
Yeah, they're right on that.
Mate,
Palhinha was rated.
Palhinha
was rated and went to a small club. Like I like Palhinha a lot, but I think.
Did you think he was going to do well this season?
Not this rated.
Did you think he was going to do this season?
No,
I thought it was a great. Like when I saw they signed him, I was like, great signing. So I wouldn't.
I'm sorry, I'm taking out Caicedo. Caicedo was rated. He was getting 75 million moves in January. I'm putting Palhinha in there. Sorry, Caicedo, and sorry, Brighton fans.
A similar level, so I can understand.
Second half has just kicked off in some of the games as well.
Casemiro,
still 1-0 in the Fulham West Ham, 1-0 in the Brentford Newcastle, Leicester Bournemouth still 1-0 in that as well. Bournemouth 1-0 up, and Wolves are 1-0 up against Chelsea as well. That's just kicked off again. Only the Aston Villa Forest and Tottenham Brighton game yet to kick off.
Just realised who Brentford are playing, you know.
Vitaly Janelt's another good shout as well.
Janelt's a good player. Yeah.
Spurs are in there for top 4 now.
Midfield seems like a good.
It is a tough one. Billing's a tough one to miss out on as well, man. Someone said Odegaard, please, man, behave.
Mateus Nunes, Mateus Nunes.
Let's go front line. Who we going? I'm annoyed Bentancur didn't make that midfield as well, though.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Haaland goes flowers?
He joined last season, though. That's why I'd probably let him.
Sorry. Forwards? Where are we going?
Well, we starting with left, right, or striker?
I want to start left.
Left wing. Well, then I'm gonna have to throw my boy Jack Harrison. It's on the thing there. I would rather put Nonto there, but I think Nonto is more rated than Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison, since Javi Gracia has come in, has been phenomenal. He's been one of the main reasons that we are where we are.
Mbemo?
He started off the season very well, and let's not forget, we almost sold him. We almost sold him in January because we didn't think he was good enough. And since then, he's come back. He's amazing at getting the width, allowing us to get forward, allowing us to get crosses into the box. Question marks at times over his end delivery, but his consistency in his work rate, in getting in the right positions, and now his end product as well is starting to get there. Jack Harrison's got to be at least in the conversation.
Harvey Barnes, Brighton, Mbemo.
Is he rated though?
Good this season.
Harvey Barnes
I think
is
he's
rated,
good, but not this season.
Mbemo at Brentford.
There's a unanimous, I think, flood of
there's two,
Mitomas
but
in the comments.
Yeah, but Mitoma's rated. It's the
Is he
same
rated?
reason I
And
didn't say
second,
Nonto.
is Trossard rated?
The reason why
Because they're
I'm
the two that I'll be
allowing the
going with straight
Mitoma
away.
discussion to come in is because I think start of the season when Potter was there, he
Yeah,
wasn't in the
yeah,
squad.
yeah.
He wasn't.
didn't play, did he? Yeah.
He didn't really play. So the fact that he's been almost a surprise package that De Zerbi's brought in and how good he has been at that level.
I'd take him
for
at
me,
City.
it's the
I'd
surprise
take him at
factor
City.
is why I would say maybe he's not globally rated,
Yeah.
you would say. But I do think he is. Anyone who watches Mitoma,
I can
anyone
see-
who's done
do
a
you know what, bro?
thesis
I can
on
see him at
bloody
your place.
dribbling,
Fuad, I can see him at your place as well, you know.
I would love him. I've
Because
said,
I
Son
actually-
Heung-min,
it's
pack
a
your
league
bags.
move.
Thank you for the
Actually,
goal.
Levy won't
Yeah,
get
just
it
say
somewhere.
that.
Actually, I'm going to go for another shout of someone who I think doesn't get the credit he deserves. Jack Grealish. I think he's been. I think he's
getting his
I think
flowers
he's
this
been
season.
amazing.
Unless
this
you're
season.
talking off rival fans.
I think he's been amazing this
The
season.
people I'm round are giving him his flowers. So
Everyone
I
last
think
season
so
was
as well.
saying how rubbish he was.
I hear
And this
you, I hear
season,
you.
he's come out.
It's who I talk with.
1-0. Bertrand Traore scores for Aston Villa.
Ex-Chelsea.
Another one.
Oh, yes.
I hear you on Grealish, but I don't know, because I speak with a lot of City fans, then we're giving him his flowers. But
you're
I
backing your own fans.
I don't
Is
think that
Jadon
one's
Sancho a shout?
underrated. I think Grealish is rated. It was
you
just a
just-
matter of him living up to that rating.
Are you
if that
bantering?
makes sense.
Yeah.
And now he finally is, if that makes sense.
Hold on. Say that again, please, loudly.
I said, is Jadon Sancho not in the conversation?
He's been good.
Because he's gone under the radar, I
Harvey
think, a little
Barnes.
bit.
Did you say Jadon Sancho's been good?
Bro, we got to move on, please. I'm going to nominate Trossard.
I think Trossard.
I think Trossard is one for sure. I think
Wow, how the
considering,
tables have
But he was
turned on
rated. He was
Trossard.
rated.
considering
Not highly
considering
enough, though.
what he
Oh,
was
I
doing.
think he was.
Can we pull the clip up of what Fuad was saying about Trossard when he first signed?
Please. Like, I'm trying to host a show here. Can I? Please?
You are going to.
Like, Trossard, for what he's done at Brighton for the first half of the season, I think people are forgetting how good and key he was. For me, the biggest surprise has been coming into Arsenal.
And being so
I
good.
don't think he was, personally, I don't think he
How
was
much
even.
they pay for him? How much they pay for
I
him?
think 18 million, was it?
That's
Cheap,
to
and
me
that's
sounds
the thing.
underrated.
So for me, I think
massively.
for him coming in,
Yeah.
I thought he's going to be a squad player. He'll probably provide some injection, but I didn't think he would come in
7
providing
assists already, right?
the quality that he has. Or is it 21 million? I think people are saying 21 million. Yeah.
7 assists already, I believe.
So
at
7 assists
Arsenal.
already, crazy. So I think for me, it's been that surprise since he's come into Arsenal. How good he's been. It's not what he's
In his stride.
Yeah, because I think he's someone who people have always said, oh, he's good, he's decent, but can he do it at kind of the bigger level? And that was kind of the questions I had about him.
And
when
in
he
the
It's a
middle,
long-term
too.
squad signing. He's just
played in the
literally said,
middle.
because Martinelli's now signed an extension, and they've got 2 left-sided players competing and pushing each other.
And it's almost lit a fire under his arse to kind of say. 1 or 2 other nominations. Manor Solomon, who's come in at Fulham.
Yeah, great player. Yeah.
Bangers after bangers, man. Guy's got a better whip than
He's
Tony
very,
McCoy.
very good.
Brennan Johnson.
Brennan
I'm not hearing
Johnson.
I don't
enough
rate
for Trossard,
Trossard,
to be frank with you.
Brennan Johnson.
Trossard's
I don't
Yeah.
think Brendan Johnson's as good as people.
He's
as good
good,
as
but I
people
wouldn't
say
put
he
him
is.
over a Trossard. I wouldn't put him over a
If we're
Trossard or
putting
even a
Trossard,
Solomon.
Trossard's like Ake. If it's one that if you're putting him in underrated, then for me it's nailed on Trossard.
Yeah.
Just for his stuff at Arsenal, I would probably put
The
him there.
21
I think
million.
so.
Because I think at Brighton, everyone knew how good he was. He was playing for Belgium, like he was
Oh, he
great.
tore us a new one.
I said he should have stayed there, like
Yeah.
in my eyes, like Zaha, and just gone and made himself a
Bloody
legend
dip
there
up,
and
bloody,
pushed
yeah.
him to. Let's say Brighton now get Europe, he
Yep.
can be that leading light in that team. I think
He's
at Arsenal,
elevated
I said
himself.
he almost runs the risk of just becoming another one of the cogs in the machine. But I've been surprised by how good he's
Yeah.
actually been. So
Trossard.
yeah,
Yeah, but
So-
you can't turn down winning a Premier League.
And-
That's
and
massive.
100%.
Like
Yeah,
Jorginho
and when the
too.
offer does come, you don't say no. And he's someone I think has been wanting Champions League football as well. So
if
he's
they
finally
win
going to
it,
get it.
if they win it, right, and Trossard continues for the rest of the season how he started at Arsenal, he could go down as one of the best January transfer signings ever.
Yeah, and what a blessing in disguise it was not getting Mudryk and getting Trossard instead.
Yeah.
What a blessing in
Mudryk
disguise
time.
that's turned out to be.
Give Mudryk time.
I see your...
Give him
I see
time,
the
but we're
Chelsea-
talking about the
Chelsea, media are getting a lot of pictures of Frank and Mudryk.
Give him time. It will be good.
We're going to sell this narrative.
Yeah, I accept that Trossard was always going to be more of an impact signing than Mudryk. But Mudryk is going to be an exceptional player. I'm convinced of that. Oh yeah, absolutely. Look at Grealish. We're talking about Grealish. He wasn't great in his first season at City. Second season, come through and has been far better. Like, I think to judge someone like Mudryk on 3 months of football is just not. It's not the way
No, I
to
know,
go.
but it's obviously always going to happen when you
what
come out that
Trossard
high
is
of a
always
transfer
going to
fee.
do well more quickly than Mudryk.
Here's the key. Here's the key. What Arsenal needed in January was someone to come in and help
Now.
the title
That knew
push.
the league as well that could do it, yeah.
Boom!
your shout, Joe
Centre
Linton
mid
with the
Supremo, Linton.
So
Joe
know all the
Linton
left-back.
gets the
I
equaliser,
love
and it's
Joe Linton.
1-1 in the Newcastle-Brentford game. Newcastle just haven't equalised now. Joe Linton popping up with the goals. He hasn't done
Big
that in a
goal.
while.
Love Linton.
Massive goal.
It's mad to think that he was playing up front, wearing number 9 for like
And
a year and a half,
couldn't
and then they went, how can we fix this? Midfield. Boom. And it's been magical ever since, really and truly. Like, he actually fits the role so perfectly. It's funny. But
And his passion too. It's the fact that he literally would do anything for Newcastle. And as a rival fan, I love
let's just wrap up the 11. So we've gone Trossard on the left wing. Give me your right winger and give me your forward as well. Right winger, I'll give you a couple of suggestions.
Yeah.
Olise and Solly March would be two candidates I
Not
kind of
underrated.
Raheem
Solly
Sterling.
March.
I think Solly March was always rated.
I don't think Solly March gets any ratings. I don't even see him get ratings on Match of the Day. I'm like, bro, this guy is
on that basis, Solly
cooking.
March. On that basis, Evan
Cooking.
Ferguson up front,
Oh, Evan Ferguson up front.
100%.
Not Mitrovic.
Evan Ferguson.
Okay.
No one knew. Most people didn't know who he was. At
Eddie
the start.
Nketiah.
Any disputes on the right wing?
Right wing, I'd put, I'd throw Raz, into the conversation.
Raz is in who?
Raheem, the dream.
Sterling.
On the right.
Sterling.
As a Chelsea fan, I think based on this season,
You're
he's
saying
won us
Sterling
games.
is underrated this season?
I think
Not
he's
this
one of the most
season.
underrated players in Premier League history, to be
That
frankly
he
honest
might
with you.
be, but not this season.
I don't know, man.
I'll go
I think
Solly March on the right wing personally. Who would you go?
Yeah, so
Solly?
If he's underrated, then yeah, absolutely.
I would
I
go
think he's
Solly.
underrated massively.
Up front,
Oh, it's a
there's a
rare own
couple of
goal now.
options.
Up front, Eddie Nketiah, first of all, for what he's done, for the injury they had to Jesus, for him to come in and for them to not really miss a beat up front. I mean, there's an argument to have, is he the man to push them
that's a fair
forward?
shout.
But like you said, with the Trossard thing, they need someone to come in that can keep their form going in this short to medium term for the rest of the season. And if they win the league, he'll be a massive factor
I don't
in
think
it.
there's a shout based on it. I don't think there's a shout that long term he's what they need. But I do agree with you that I think he's come in and he's kept them going. He scored some goals that will be seen as important. I think was there not one against Man United that got them the winner?
Eddie Nketiah.
Ah,
Nketiah,
yeah.
So I think he has done a job. There's a fair shout. on him,
I
but
don't know. He don't even make top 3 for me.
I don't think he's underrated.
And the thing
he's
is,
underrated, Bob.
He's underrated, but I don't think he's like he's lit up the league this
No, he
season
hasn't.
in a way that like an Evan Ferguson
He
I
hasn't
think
yet.
has.
he had like a spell for
Yeah,
me, but
that's it.
I think he's rated at the level he should be, like
Yeah.
as an Arsenal backup striker,
Yeah.
and he is an Arsenal backup striker.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. I think for me, 3 players I would put forward. I think Ferguson, you said already.
Yep.
Nonto, I'm surprised you haven't.
He's
he a
not a striker.
striker?
He plays on the wing. He plays
not
on
a
the
striker.
but can
No, if we're talking striker underrated for Leeds, it's Rodrigo
And then
Moreno.
Watkins was
he
the
play up
last one
front?
I was going
Rodrigo
to
Moreno up
Watkins,
front.
man.
You say Nonto for me left wing, but I
Okay.
think he's rated.
Leave Nonto out then.
Does he play up front?
I would say
Does he play
I
up
would say
front now?
Watkins.
Rodrigo
Would you
Moreno
not say
plays up front.
Watkins?
He
What
played
he's
it
done this year?
behind for a while.
What-
I
do you know
love
what?
Ollie Watkins.
I think probably based on this year, yeah.
No, you.
Do you know what I've got in my head? I've got a myth that he had the other day in my head, and you know when that's just overshadowing it. But I think you base it on the whole season, I probably would go with Watkins.
No, you
I
can't
think
put him
Watkins
over
link-up
Rodrigo,
plays
man.
nice as well, man. I think Watkins link-up plays proper.
The reason that Watkins didn't come into my head is because I've got some mates who are in like massive EFL fans, and I've known who Ollie Watkins was
Yeah, for a long
since
time,
he was
yeah,
at
yeah.
Exeter, then to Brentford, then into but absolutely like based on the Premier League, like he's again. an
I'm sorry, but
amazing player.
I like the Watkins shout, but if you're putting him in there, Rodrigo Moreno trumps him everything. Who was better last year?
Shout.
Watkins had a better year. Rodrigo Moreno was almost cast out of the squad. Rodrigo Moreno, stats-wise, goals per 90. There's only 2 strikers in the league with better record. Harry Kane and your man Erling Haaland.
Mention it.
No, bro, Rodrigo. I have to get mentioned here.
Rodrigo Moreno has to, man. He's been phenomenal. He's had injury issues.
Question then.
Him and Watkins would work together.
I will say though, personally, I would have Watkins still. I do agree though. Rodrigo, I think, is a great shout.
Who was expected more at the beginning of the year? Watkins.
I think
and
both
who's
of them you
delivered
expected
more?
nothing. Both of them had chances. I feel like Rodrigo had a
always
chance to
got sold.
lead.
Everyone wanted him
And
out.
that's what I'm saying. Both of them were in positions where Watkins, I think they looked at him and got Ings in and thought maybe he can be the thing that finally gets Watkins firing. Because since he signed from Brentford, he was a goals machine at Brentford. He was what Tony was.
Yeah.
And then since he's come to Villa, he's just almost become this physical barn door striker. It's like, no. Now he's showing, do you know what? Now I've still got some of those goals. So that's where I've been like, oh shit, you're actually changing your whole game type of thing. Yeah. With Rodrigo, I think it's just finally living up to the expectation.
And I've got a question.
I hear you, though.
It's a question on actually getting the best out of him. Because
for Brighton.
Oh my lord.
Danny Welbeck.
Another underrated striker in Danny Welbeck. There you go.
Well.
Bambi on ice, or is he world class?
Tottenham, you called it. You called it when Sonny scored earlier.
This is tiring.
Do you know what the problem is?
This is tiring.
This is why he called it, because Tottenham, we saw it against, was it Southampton the other week?
It's just too easy.
How many goals has he got this year, actually,
easy.
Danny Welbeck? Because that could actually be...
No, Danny Welbeck's not going in there.
Danny Welbeck, stop it.
Danny Welbeck, what's that goalkeeper?
Hold on, Luis.
What's that goalkeeper?
Have a look at Luis.
Is it off? Is it off? Is it off?
Looks like
Is it on?
it's-
I reckon it's on.
I reckon.
I don't think he was
Okay,
off.
yeah, he's got 3 goals.
Porro's kept him a country mile onside. He's no. That's our chance. It's gone the other way now.
That was a previous.
No, that's the previous one.
Wait, no, they've disallowed it.
Doesn't look like.
Oh, is this... Oh,
Which is more up to date.
I think it's cut back.
yeah, it's cut, yeah.
But sorry, let's just run through that lineup quickly as well.
That looked bad from
we had
Luis.
Leno in goal, Kyle Walker-Peters, Tete, Aaron Wan-Bissaka split in between the right backs. Cole Will was a guaranteed lock. Bella Kotchap, Konsa and Wobo, we still couldn't decide. Aki at left back.
Sorry.
Palinia, Lavia and Xhaka in midfield. And then up front we've gone Trossard, Solly, March and Ollie Watkins.
Here we go.
Oh, did we go Watkins?
Did we
agree Watkins? I don't remember agreeing Watkins.
I thought the chat was unanimous with Watkins.
The chat, I didn't
What did you
hear
say?
you guys said.
I did say Watkins at the start.
I said Watkins.
Do you know
What did
I
you say?
said Watkins, but then
3-on-1.
I've kind of reverted. I'm like,
Oi.
You're
telling me the
seeing the
chat?
light.
I like the chat. The chat has unanimously said Watkins, so I'm like,
then
for me, Watkins is a
Watkins it is,
lock
yeah,
pretty
Watkins.
much.
hold on, look at this from Luis.
Watkins gets in.
Oh, we couldn't.
Deflection, yeah.
Nah.
Multiple. Is that handball?
Well,
Is there a
I
handball
don't
in
know
that?
if it was a deflection, you know.
Boom, baby! 1-1. It's been
disallowed.
disallowed.
Well, can I poise a question over to you guys? Where does that side that we've just made, that beautifully constructed 11, where does it finish in the league?
Ooh.
Where does
Another goal!
Oh, easy.
Oh,
Who's it gone
surprise.
to? It's gone to Newcastle, and they lead Brentford 2-1.
Massive second half for Newcastle.
A huge one.
Massive.
That top 4 race, yeah.
We did say before the game as well,
game's-
second half of the
game's
season, he's almost
tasty.
felt like a new signing. Isaac stepping up once again. Is
Do you
that
know what?
back-to-back games now he's got
Do you know
goals?
what? The Newcastle have come back from the international break because they needed that
Playing
badly.
a lot
They
better.
needed it very badly.
But
Massive 3 points for them.
before we skate over that question though, where does that side finish in the league?
I mean, it's an underrated side, to be fair. So when I look at the names, Leno, Cole Will, Aki, Palini,
Relegation battle.
Solly, Watkins. I'm going
a pretty pure
about
team if it's
10th,
relegation
11th.
Above this Chelsea
Yeah,
team,
about
definitely.
10th, 11th, I would say. I mean,
Not pushing for Europe for
give us a definitive answer as well in the comments. On the right back, Walker-Peters, Tete, Wan-Bissaka or A-Link. For the next 30 seconds, I just want to see those responses in the chat, please.
In the meantime,
WB, isn't it?
I think, yeah, because it seemed like everybody was leaning towards Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But
If
in the
he's another
meantime,
one,
you lot
if we
threw up
see
some
him as
different
underrated,
answers. I'm
he's
seeing
probably
Wan-Bissaka, Tete, Wan-Bissaka. Hey, man, A-Ling hype. Get that guy out of here. Yeah. So
In the
I'm seeing
meantime-
Wan-Bissaka, Walker-Peters. Oh.
I had a question on.
Emerson Royale.
Easy now. Don't joke with that one. Don't
What's
joke with
going
that
on
one.
in that?
Oh,
Hey,
let's go.
it's looking like Wan-Bissaka's winning, you know.
Ooh, what a screamer
goal.
by
Lovely
Isak, man.
What a banger.
Is it Isak or
Aaron Wan-Bissaka it is.
Isak? Yeah.
Great finish.
Is that how you'd pronounce it?
I think it's Isak. Yeah.
Big Ben's with a super chat. He said Brighton is getting robbed.
Definitely wouldn't be Isaac. Yeah.
I need to see it again, to be honest.
They're being sent
then
for a
help
chicken
us-
royale.
For the next 30 seconds, though, if you can.
lovely
What a
finish.
finish.
Lovely finish.
Gotta just.
In the chat, if you can help us sort the centre back as well. We've got Bella Kotchap, Konsa, or Woba. Give us one of your
Oh, what a
picks
finish,
of those
man.
three.
That was beautiful.
Bella Kotchap, Konsa, or Woba.
I tell you
know who
what,
I'd
Vote Esri.
You've gone Esri, you've gone Woba, I've gone Bella Kotchap. Let's see. What a finish, man. This boy
that
only
was
scores
proper.
good goals, isn't
He's
it?
amazing. He's
Hey,
really
man.
good.
Goals as good as the waves. I know that
Crazy,
do-rag was
It's
on.
crazy how it didn't work for him at Dortmund. yeah.
As a former Waves man, trust me, former Waves. That requires work, my brother. Plenty of brushing there, plenty of oiling. You know what I'm saying?
Is it not going to ruin it, like playing football with it though?
Nah.
If like the ball hits the top of your head,
Nah. We stay immaculate, man.
or if it's rain.
Quick brush like that, boom, you're back to
Does
good, man.
rain affect it?
No, not really. Doesn't really. Oh, answers are coming in, and it's going exactly how I wanted to. I knew you guys knew ball. Bella Kotchap is getting the unanimous vote. Ooh, Suhas has said Konsa. I will say that.
Bella ketchup.
Yeah, Bella
More of a
Kotchap.
mustard man.
I like that. So the back four now looks like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Cole Will, Bella Kotchap, and Nathan Aki. That's actually not a bad
good
back
back
four.
four.
I can't lie to you. The midfield, I feel like it just lacks a little bit of
listen midfield again.
juice. The midfield is Palhinha, Lavia, and Xhaka.
Oh yeah, there's not
It
a
just
lot of
needs a bit
creativity.
of no
No creativity,
creativity.
yeah.
And then up front, I just feel like there's a lack of goals with Trossard, Solimarch, and Watkins.
Well, that's why you put
all of
Rodrigo
them are
Moreno
like
in there.
on form.
Mid.
They can get you something.
Oh, Stellini's been sent off. Oh wait, he's out of there. He was listening to you.
Like Conte, like his father.
He's off to Oi. Listen, by Tuesday, by Monday, he's going to be pictured on
Mate,
Ryanair.
he's trying to get that.
He's
like
going to be
his
on
Conte
Ryanair flying out to
package.
Italy.
He's looking
Bruv.
for that P45.
Pack your bags, mate.
Yeah, he signed an agreement that he'd get a certain payoff if they
Is
got
that a
rid of
double
him.
red
Mate,
card?
Conte's on the blow like
Both of
this
them-
is beautiful,
Wait,
mate.
I
Got
think
all the
both
money,
managers
none of
have
the
been
work.
sent off.
Well, Deserbi
Have they?
too.
No.
I think
doesn't
Deserbi's
deserve
been
that
sent
one.
off as well.
Who's it? Is that no? That's not Deserbi there. So who's going to be
Yeah, everyone in the chat
Stellini's
is saying
understudy?
Deserbi, and I only saw
There be some
Stellini
other
there.
old
The
Italian
understudy
dudes.
to the
Crazy.
understudy.
Yeah,
It's all going off today.
there's some old Italian.
Listen,
another
Saturday
old
football show.
Italian.
That's what we do.
on.
And
Newcastle.
3-1
Oh,
Newcastle.
Again?
It's the invisible man.
God.
With
I
the
like
goal.
Isak.
Flying in second
Callum
half.
Wilson.
Callum Wilson.
Good, great.
He
Right,
needed
as
the
you
break
said,
as well.
both of them can
He
link up
needed
and
the
get
break,
goals.
Big man, big
Getting
You know
today.
man.
what? I really like Callum Wilson in the World Cup.
Yeah,
When he
did
played
well,
for
didn't
England,
he?
every time he came in, his link-up play was...
He did very well.
But since then, he's dropped off form. I think someone said he had COVID, and then after that, he seemed to take longer to recover.
I think he's just unfortunate that there's so many other quality players ahead of him.
Yeah.
Like with Ivan Toney and Harry Kane there.
Do you know what it was that I liked
he's
when he
gonna
played for
struggle to get
England?
sniff.
He had a chance. He was through, I think, pretty much one
When he cut it across.
and he cut it across.
Was
And
it
for someone that
Grealish?
hasn't had the chances for England to be on the main stage and still go no, better position. For me, I'm like, that is the type of player that you need in your team, and that's probably Eddie Howe that's instilled that in him at Newcastle. That we are playing as a team, right? And that is it. It's not.
Do you
about
mean kind of like the way Kane didn't square it to Sterling in that semi-final? Would have won that game if it wasn't for.
But at the same time,
Greediness.
Come on, you are putting money on Kane finishing that more time.
Yeah.
Come on, Kane has earned the right
Literally.
to
I always say that about that chance. Everyone, I'm always like, bro,
It's Kane,
you would have
man.
put your mortgage on Kane.
Haaland would not have squared it neither.
Yeah.
Just a quick look who's back moment. We've got a return to the Premier League for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang after a 3-month
I
holiday.
saw him pictured in training all looking
He's
happy
come
and
in.
smiley. But the mad
Son.
thing is, bro, I'm sorry, yeah, but on was it Wednesday when you played Liverpool?
It was Tuesday
My
night,
man
yeah.
was live on Twitch.
Oh, swear.
He was live on Twitch
What, Aubameyang?
during the game. Yes.
He don't care, does he?
During the game.
Maybe he was doing the watch along.
No, he was trying
To
to,
be
learn
honest-
some new celebrations for this weekend. He was playing Fortnite
Thing is, though,
live.
do you think suffering 4 goals, do you think you can kind of bring a little bit of spark? Because last season, similar thing.
worth
First half of the
trying.
season, sent into the
every
abyss by
year.
Arsenal. came to Barcelona and he actually gave them a little something, and you thought, hold on, everyone said this guy was rubbed. Can he come and do the same with Lampard? Similarly, like Xavi, very inexperienced, maybe doesn't have the prestige or whatever, but does have it as a player.
It could work.
I'm not even being funny. The fact that he played Fortnite tells me that he actually exists. The rest of our forwards, I don't know if they even exist on the pitch.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, who are your other forwards?
It's at that
Even
level.
Kai Havertz?
No,
Havertz
the only
has
other
been
forward, he's
hooked,
not a forward, man.
He's just not been good enough.
Well, you just made 4
Joao
changes
Felix
in 7
disallowed
minutes.
goal for Newcastle there.
But I do think Aubameyang, if you want to get the best out of Sterling, you need someone like Aubameyang.
Well, Sterling's been taken off. At the same time, Aubameyang comes on.
It's a bit harsh what happened to him. He was so happy to be playing with Tuchel, and then within like 2 weeks
Without
he's
Aubameyang,
gone.
and Sterling too. But it was
I think Sterling came to the wrong club in London. I always thought when he left City he was going to go Arsenal. I thought it was nailed on.
Same.
Sterling wanted to play for Tuchel though, similarly
I
to
hear it, Bob.
Aubameyang.
He should have gone Arsenal. He would have cooked at Arsenal, and I think the fan base at Arsenal would have absolutely loved him.
They would have bought into him
They
more.
would have bought into. They already are. A lot of my friends
Arteta
are Arsenal
player
fans, their
too.
kids love
Do you know what,
Sterling.
Daps? You've been lining me up with these perfect transitions all day.
Go on.
I appreciate you, man. This is what it's all about. It's
professional.
Do you know what I mean? Speaking of
Hey.
Arsenal, got Arsenal coming up on the weekend versus Liverpool. I was thinking we just did an 11, obviously,
what's
of the
going on
underrated 11, and obviously I love you guys getting involved as well. So let's do a combined 11 for the
Based on
Arsenal
this season,
Liverpool.
yeah?
Just a whole
Listen,
Arsenal team.
This season.
There's not many combinations
what
in
I
there,
would
to
say
be honest.
is
It's like Anthony Joshua, mate.
like if you
Straight 1-2.
think of it this way: if you're picking the teams for tomorrow, so everybody who's fit, going on current form with everything.
The fact
We
that
have
it's
to
at
do a
Anfield,
combined
we have
11,
to throw in there then.
Combined 11.
It's a +1 on every player's ratings.
Let's kind of look
Probably
at it.
one player I'd put.
Or is it too easy if that's the case?
Boy, I'm not. It sounds mad because I am one of these people that, based on the last 4 or 5 years, I'm still saying Liverpool. Don't count them out, but that I'm struggling. I'm looking
They
at the
were
Liverpool
awful
team. Who am I
in
trying to
midweek.
put in there? Who am I trying to put in
Alisson.
there?
So should we do it based?
Alisson.
So should we do it
I'm
based?
even backing
Should we do it
Ramsdale
based on
over
ability then?
Alisson.
Should we do it based on ability then?
Mo Salah,
You have
maybe?
to just
Okay.
to get some Liverpool players
We'll
in
do
there.
it based on ability then. Oh,
But
Nathan,
based
sorry, I
on
almost missed your
ability,
super
then
chat.
Van Dijk and Trent walk in there, and I don't think they really should be.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree with that.
let's go for it. Let's
I
go
agree
for
with
it. Let's
that.
go for it. So let's
Robbo.
try and create an 11. Guys, sending your chats as well. Nathan sends in a super chat here as well for you, Daps. He says, "Admit it, you're scared of Arsenal and its heritage."
Sorry. So firstly,
This is football.
heritage. Is that from a Liverpool fan or an Arsenal fan?
Heritage.
Arsenal fan.
Talking about heritage.
Don't know. It could be.
Football.
Could be a Brentford fan.
It's just Jose
So in
Mourinho.
goal-
Listen,
be a
Arsenal,
Scotland
if Arsenal win
is
tomorrow,
Alisson and Ramsdale in goal.
I think it's a conversation. It's not.
Is
It's
there
not a
I
foregone
like
conclusion.
It. Talk to me.
at all.
Let's talk, Daps.
I think that
Who are you guys going for in the comments as well? Let us know.
if you're
Sorry.
looking at Arsenal centre backs, they've both had an amazing season. They'd probably both get in this team. Who leads the line, or does Ramsdale help to lead that line? Because I think Ramsdale, how vocal and confident Ramsdale is, doesn't get spoke about enough.
Yeah.
I think the minute Pickford makes one mistake for England, Ramsdale goes into that England team and he holds it down for about 7-8 years. I think Ramsdale is good. He's young. For a goalkeeper, he's still young as well. I think Ramsdale, look, there is then the argument with Alisson that, like Man United over the last few years, maybe not so much recently, how De Gea was making United finish higher than maybe they should have. Think the same with Alisson this season. He's kept them in it. But I can pick out last week, his distribution. I want this narrative that Alisson's distribution is amazing to stop, because it isn't. Right?
Well, he's
There's-
not quite Edison.
But this is the thing.
Better shot.
I'm
The
more
thing
than
is-
happy as a City fan to stand here and go, yeah, Alisson is most definitely a better shot stopper than Edison. But then Liverpool fans will say, yeah, but his distribution's equally as good.
He can play in the midfield
I do
three.
not think his distribution
No,
is
it's
good.
not. No, it's good.
I don't think
Edison
so
distribution is one of the
I
best.
think Ramsdale does more for Arsenal's defence than just his shot stopping.
We've got a poll up for the goalkeeper, by the way.
I'd have to go
on
Alisson personally,
or
just
Ramsdale.
because he's one of the only players I see actually getting
Because the
in there.
defence is doing so badly that
that's
he's got
my
more.
view as
He
well.
has to save more.
I have to put Alisson.
He's the only Liverpool player I'd probably
Especially in-
consider this season putting in there.
But that's because because the defence is so bad. There's so many shots against him that Alisson has more opportunities to get his ratings higher. Yeah. And people never speak on that. When a defence is bad, it puts more pressure on the goalkeeper.
But he also proved that when their defence was good, that he was up to the billing as well.
And that's my thing with Alisson is you saw he was the best goalkeeper in the world for the past 2 or 3 years when Liverpool were good. And then this season, when the defence has completely fallen by the wayside, he's actually still been, in my opinion, the only one standing. And he's had moments and gaps. I think any keeper nowadays who plays as risky as he does, you're going to have those moments. But for me, I always look at Alisson and I'm like, I'm confident in that guy.
We'll
like, no matter what, I always like to think, if a striker beats your defence, you want to be able to look at your keeper and be like, it's all right. 9 times out of 10, he's probably got that. I look at Alisson similarly like how I used to look at almost Oliver Kahn. It's just a war.
He's good
luck trying to get.
Do you know what the problem is? What I'm probably doing
Czech,
here.
I remember.
Czech was the same,
Similarly like that as well. Yeah, Courtois for like a year or two.
Not that I like him.
I think you're right. I'm probably being very critical on Alisson because I agree with you. Over the last 2 years,
I hate you though with the distribution. Sometimes it does get over, especially I think with Alisson Edison having been a conversation over the last couple of years. That has always been the tool Edison can
last
win
week
with.
I watched him in particular, and when he did try and go long last week against City, every time it just led to the ball coming back. But
it's against
Abdul Ghaffar, who's an Arsenal fan himself, says Alisson. He says high and field. He says more clean sheets, Ramsdale, and better with the ball. Exeter says facts. Fuad, throw up the polls for an 11v11. I wish we'd be here all day, my friend. But a lot of Alisson, it seems like there is sprinkles of Ramsdale as well. I'm not going to say it's unanimous, but I personally, and poll is done as well. Alisson with 60% of the votes and Ramsdale with 40%.
Closer than I thought, to be fair.
I think, same as well.
did my job to back your boy.
How are we looking for right back? I'm curious to see when this conversation gets had right here.
Benjamin White, like I said, if you said the quality thing before, if you're talking about overall, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I have him as one of the greatest right back in the world, but I can't put him over Ben White. If I'm talking a squad that's going to play tomorrow, Ben White has got to be in there.
Do you know what?
Ben White on form has been,
I'll put this out there.
Phenomenal.
For me, Trent should no longer be called a right back.
He's a central midfielder.
No, he is the definition. Cancelo was as well at City of a system player, right?
Yeah.
People say, his job is to defend. Why? Because you're saying his job is to defend. In Klopp's system, that's not his job, right? So for me, this season, he has not been protected the way he has previous seasons. That's not his fault.
Yeah.
He's had to defend more. He's never been good at defending. That's on Klopp, that's on the DMs, that's on everyone else. It's not on Trent. But Ben White's had a phenomenal season. And we have to... Look, Ben White is one of these Arsenal players that even Arsenal fans were criticising him, right? He's had a sensational season. He's
moved position as well.
Best right back in the league this season.
I think even the chat reading here, it seems pretty much Ben White.
It's his consistency of performances that really impresses me with Ben White.
For me, that at the World Cup, there were genuine shouts for Ben White to play at right back for England. Tells me all I need to know on how good he's been in an unfamiliar position.
The fact that he can switch between the two as well. That's the beauty, that he can play right centre back as well. And
I like that. That's actually a very good call. That kind of he's more needs a system catered to him rather than he's a natural right back. I can definitely hear that case. For Trent. Right, so we've got Ben White.
It could have been a penalty to Brighton, you know.
Alisson in goal, and then give me your left back. Let's go.
Okay. What am I talking about?
Okay, look at this guy trying to get himself involved in the... Listen,
I know.
Wait your turn, yeah? Arsenal v Liverpool.
I just put Ben White on because
you've got Roberts.
You've got another one of your old boys arguably getting in there.
You've got...
it has to be Zinchenko.
Zinchenko,
It has to be.
Zinchenko.
What, we're going to try and argue Robertson?
Because we did say ability as well. Listen, if we're talking all-timers in Premier League... Robbo's in the conversation.
Robertson is a better...
so I'm not having... If we're including ability in all of this...
But you've got him...
Is it this season?
We're talking all-timers. Milner's in the conversation.
I know former City boy.
No, I like Robertson.
But I'm like, let's not shout about Robbo here.
He doesn't deserve it on this season.
Not on this season, no.
That's why...
Zinchenko, look...
Brighton just had a penalty chance.
He
dismissed as well.
They did, very much.
By the way, that Newcastle goal got disallowed. I don't know if we touched on it.
The problem here is that I'm just looking at the rest of the team and thinking this is going to go the same in every damn.
This is one of the few positions I feel like they can argue. Zinchenko's been playing left centre mid, technically.
Robertson's been bad this season, bro. Robertson has been bad this season. Robertson's been very bad. Robertson on form, one of the best left backs in the
Liverpool
league.
fans, I'm trying to fight the good fight here, but Zinni, I think, is actually a lot for this.
That would be mad.
I do think as well, like you notice actually the difference when Zinchenko's not in and out of the Arsenal side, and I always think that's a big deciding factor when a player goes missing as well.
And if we're going to talk on, let's not just look at this season, right? For the last, Zinchenko's won 4 Premier Leagues at City, right? The last 2 seasons at very least, he started both seasons, and potentially the third as well, as our second choice left back. Cancelo our first choice. By the end of the season, he's our first choice left back. For me, it's Zinchenko, hands down, based on how good he's been this season, how bad Robertson's been this season. The fact Zinchenko has also been good previous seasons. So for me, no-brainer.
And now centre-back pairings.
Gabriel.
Do you know what? We're gonna right. So, firstly, what we have to come to the agreement. If we're going to throw one Liverpool name forward, we're going to put Konate forward, probably.
Konate would be
not.
Depends if you're talking overall talent, and then, like I said, Van Dijk walks into that side.
Of course, and that's what I said. I said we are taking full ability into account, but it's also for a game.
But it's too hard to not have Gabriel and Saliba in.
But it's a game now.
It's impossible.
But the game
and
is now.
And they are top of the league, and they're top of the league for a reason. Defences win you titles. And
the game is now.
It's very hard to put a side that's been leaking goals like nobody's business.
But we have to be. You know what? Not my opinion. The overall opinion is that Van Dijk has been one of the best centre-backs in the last 5 years.
One of the best centre-backs in the world.
So based on that, exactly, you have to say, you know what, he does have some credit in the bank.
Yeah, and he's in the conversation.
That's all he has right now, but he's got good credit.
He's got great credit.
He's got
Credit Suisse, but I'm afraid it's not enough cachet in the bank to get himself over Gabriel Saliba.
I don't
think so.
I would never want to see a Van Dijk-Gabriel partnership.
I'm with that.
I think Van Dijk works with anyone in his prime,
bro. What Van Dijk does is get away with murder and look at other players and make it look like they are at fault. Yeah, he will be looking at Gabriel constantly, going, "What are you doing?" It wouldn't work, bro. It would not work. He'd see Gabriel as a victim.
Konate's the one where I'm like, and the thing is okay. Here's my thing. Let's lock Gabriel. I think he's the one. For me, the Konate Saliba. I want to have a discussion.
It wouldn't be bad.
Y'all remember the World Cup, right?
I see what you're doing.
Who was playing at the World Cup?
Yeah.
Who was scrubbing boots on the touchline?
Okay, but by that definition,
who's filling up water bottles? And who's keeping clean sheets?
By that definition, is Pickford better than Ramsdale?
I'm just asking the questions.
I like the question. And I like what you did.
It's a good point, but it's a hard 11 to choose because.
Are you trying to say that Konate should be in over Saliba?
I'm just saying, if Deschamps rates Konate higher, who are we to question? Yeah. Is there a discussion there, is what I'm saying. Now, I'm obviously being tongue-in-cheek, but
Chelsea reject.
Saliba, I think, in the first half of the season was incredible. I think second half of the season as well. I'm not saying he's not been good, but I think Gabriel is now kind of looking more like the A side, where I think first half of the season, people would have said Saliba's a little bit more.
I just love how comfortable Saliba is on the ball, man.
I think that's what it is. I think there's almost this what Van Dijk used to have, the aura.
Yep,
he has.
Saliba's now starting to get this aura. And everyone is just like, oh, but I like his aura. And I'm like, but no, Konate's the same, bro. Konate's a beast. And even the other day I saw him playing and I was like, yo, this guy's actually like a man mountain. He's actually hard to get past. And I think the issues he's had is injuries. I think if it weren't for injuries, he would be a lot further ahead in his Liverpool career, and I think Liverpool would be a lot better in my eyes.
For France, though, because when I'm looking at what you've just described there, and then what Saliba brings, you think of a long-term France partnership of Konate and Saliba. That is balance.
But they've got so many other good centre backs. They've got Wesley Fofana, they've got Upamecano, they've got so many good centre backs.
France very blessed with footballers. Very blessed.
It's just it's an embarrassment of riches, you know.
That's France for you.
Right, I need a lock on the pairings. Who we going?
Gabby and Saliba.
And Saliba.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to debate. We're gonna have to debate.
Big up AMT on the super chat as well. He says, "How was that not a penalty for Mitoma?"
Yeah, I thought that as well.
You tell me, yeah. And there are some other super chats that have been sent in as well from Diallo and Nathan. I will be reading those after we've done the 11 because they're not kind of pertaining to what we're talking about at the moment, but they are good questions nonetheless. We will come back to those. Now, midfield. I mean, is this even a discussion worth having, guys?
Nope.
Come on, how are you going to try and put a switch that Fabinho's having a better season than anyone?
I'm going to try and get in my bag here.
Well, you know, maybe over Odegaard here and there.
What you got?
I ain't got nothing.
I mean,
Keita, Milner, Jones.
a Liverpool fan would say, yeah, but if Thiago was fit,
ability,
But how much is ability?
Thiago on ability or Shaq on ability? Who are you not taking?
The truth of the matter is, yeah,
Odegaard.
Ronaldo left.
And Liverpool have gone down to the dumps. Look, if you're
Thiago
talking
came
Thiago
in.
at Bayern Munich, yes. Thiago at Liverpool, I don't even think his peak compares to what Odegaard's doing this year. And Harry Kane.
Harry Kane.
I said you just got caned. You just got caned.
That's grim.
And it's 2-1. Tottenham Hotspur.
How
Back into the mighty Tottenham
race.
Hotspurs. Brighton, hold that.
This is what happens
Penalty
business end of the season.
Brighton,
hold
hold
that,
that.
Albion.
Yeah. Sit back.
This is what
Send you
happens.
back to the seaside, blood.
Business end of the season.
Give you a rock
People
sweep.
step up. Liverpool, do
I
a
went
real
down
job.
there, we got beat 4-1, so don't be telling me about.
Had to get
You're giving
rock.
me nightmares, mate.
Oh, let's see how this Harry Kane goal went in, man. Robbery by Spurs, as everyone is saying.
Chelsea had a
Robbery,
golden
robbery.
chance.
Harry
League
Kane,
referee
I mean, we could have arguably slotted him into underrated earlier. I mean, I know he's rated,
I think
but,
it's just the Haaland noises drowning him out a little bit. But
I
Kane,
mean, people have been. I mean, he's very silent. I haven't heard many
even-
people gassing him up for the season he's having. Is phenomenal.
Do you know that Haaland has twice as many
Who's that?
assists?
Who tried to do that little silly flick in the middle of the
that
pitch and
was
got
nice.
dispossessed?
Is that
oh
Caicedo?
my god!
Oh,
if that
no,
was Caicedo
no,
and Mitoma,
Well worked goal, well worked
hang
goal.
your head in shame, whoever that midfielder was. Mitoma, Caicedo, McAllister. I'm gonna find out because that
Kane
was
dropping
not good.
Who got the assist?
That was not smart.
Højbjerg.
And
was
it has been
pathetic.
confirmed, by the way, that Tottenham perform best when they have no manager.
Hey.
Yes,
Gone
yeah,
down the
he got
tunnel.
sent
You might
down
be
the
cooking.
touchline, yeah.
You might be cooking. No gaffer, no
I'll tell you who's not cooking.
Exactly.
Stellini. Well, he is cooking. He's burnt the pan though.
He's
Right.
kicking for the boys after the
Right,
game.
let's just get back to this team as well now. So the midfield three, Partey, Odegaard, and Thiago.
No.
Get the hell out of here.
Xhaka.
Xhaka is
You're basing
in
it
there
on-
like swimwear, baby.
It's-
I mean,
it's
that,
hot.
that would cook, but unfortunately,
No, but even
it's
then.
availability. You said availability
You know
is very
what?
important.
No, but like
I hate
I
it when
said,
people do that when
Yeah.
beat me up
But
in my
it's
own
true.
We're
words.
talking
Fair
Thiago
enough,
before he
man.
came to the Premier League, yeah, but Thiago, since he's been at
do you know what?
Liverpool,
He's
his
great
best
last season.
at
You know
Liverpool.
what? He's been a
bit
Is it
like
been better
this,
than what
though.
Especially
Xhaka's
the way I
best
was
is this
talking
year?
about Xhaka earlier as well. I was like, yo, you know
Oh,
what? He's actually
Thiago
been
last
really good,
season.
man.
Thiago last season was at the level of Xhaka.
No,
this
he was
season.
not.
say.
Granit Xhaka is different gravy, mate.
You think?
Yeah.
I thought
Granit Xhaka has
Thiago's
it all.
whole existence at Liverpool has been overrated.
End of last season, I thought.
let's-
I thought
End of
Thiago-
last
let's-
season, from your pinpointing a little point
Yeah.
of the season,
Yeah,
for me it's
but
overrated.
Has he
Let's
performed as well as
move on to the
Wijnaldum
let's
did?
move on to the front line anyway.
Wijnaldum-
Who
Wijnaldum-
are you guys going for the
Tottenham.
right wing slot? And this is where it gets interesting.
Bukayo Saka.
Oh, yeah, it's
Because-
not interesting.
Scott-
is it?
On
Saka.
form, arguably the best
Well,
player
is it interesting?
behind
I mean,
Erling Haaland.
even on
best
form
player
though,
in the
Salah
league.
the last couple
Yeah,
of weeks
true.
has been.
No,
I watched the show
over the
earlier.
season.
Yeah.
Nah,
Bukayo Saka
well,
over the
you can't-
season, the way he's developed, especially after what happened
Hold
to
on,
him
listen,
in
you
the
know- you know-
Euros, to come back.
Let me, because I just there's a clip apparently just for this right wing clip. Please, production, if you got the tape, roll the footage.
So down the middle now.
It's Salah.
So-
You know it's Salah.
The Arsenal
Come
team
on,
that
hey.
listen.
Don't give me the
I don't know,
boy.
you know.
Don't give me boy.
Because you can say how many goals has Jason scored?
7.
7.
Is that it? Salah's got
Even
11.
Nunes has scored more.
And how many?
Childish,
one
Salah's
second,
got
one
11.
second. How many goals? Yeah, how many Salah scored in the
23 in all comps.
Premier League?
Let me get onto that. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to look it up.
11. He's got 11. 11 goals, 7 assists.
Is it 11?
11.
Right, so
No,
he's
it's
scored-
more than it must be more.
No, it's more than
check it. Yeah, 11.
Check it.
That must have on AGT or something.
check that stat out. Before I make my decision on this.
What is it?
He didn't score against
Salah.
Chelsea. Did he score?
I know he's on 40 plus
He did against
goals and assists this
City.
season.
So it
Bro,
might be
he
12.
does
It might be
score
12,
In the
right?
Premier League,
12. It's 12.
12-7
12.
though, right?
All right.
It's 12-7.
So he scored
12
12
in
goals.
28.
He scored 12 goals in the Premier League,
Yeah.
right? And
7 assists.
Jesus scored 7. Jesus missed 4 months.
So is
There was a
Diaz.
World Cup in
Right?
between.
Now hold on. We're not
There was
talking
a
about.
World Cup.
Wait a minute. We're not talking about Diaz. We're not talking about the World Cup. We're talking
Starting
about.
tomorrow, you want Salah.
We're talking about. We're talking about right.
Salah
that-
scores in big
what?
games.
He's missed nearly 4 months. Right?
Is that my fault?
No, hold on.
Is that my fault?
Hold
Remember,
on.
he's looking at me like he missed
No,
my fault. Is that my fault? Did I do anything to him?
in the 4 months that he was out, Salah scored 5 more goals.
That's good.
He's also scored a lot of Champions League goals as well, Rob.
we're talking about the Premier League. This is
Sure.
a Premier League game. So if
was a cup
we're
final.
looking on it, right, has he been any better? He's not been better than Jesus this season.
They're trying to maneuver things around to try and force their guys in. Listen, who you lot going right wing?
I do hear it through the middle though, Salah, through the middle.
Listen,
sometimes you do have to change the
Can
way
hear
things...
it. But that's not where he's been playing.
not where he plays.
No, but
So we need to
you should
have
have him
the
in.
difficult conversation.
if you're adding form, if you're adding like overall, not just form, sorry, if you're adding overall talent, ability,
Of course.
he's the best out of
Yeah, but
anybody
we
in
didn't, 'cause Van
either two
Dijk's not, but
sides.
Van Dijk's
His
not in,
peak, he
Van
has to
Dijk's
get.
not in the back four.
No,
so
but
he has
Van
to not
Dijk
doing
has
that.
had
I
compared
hear
to
you,
Salah.
Salah, yeah,
Salah's
it's not
still been
comparable.
performing.
And even like ability wise, I think like Saliba and Gabriel potentially could reach the levels
Yeah, oh,
of
hell yeah.
VVD.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
Salah, we're looking at like, one of the Premier League all-timers.
Yeah.
In all honesty. There's no way I'm leaving. Like,
how are we judging this
listen.
team?
I'm all good for to give the midfield, the defence. We got Alisson. But Salah?
Yeah, I hear you.
We can't.
But hold on. But
This
based
is
on
neglect.
that, leaving based on this season,
Bukayo
leaving
Saka,
Saka
yeah.
out,
No,
can't do it.
Salah playing Salah up front.
Salah? I'm talking Salah.
bro.
Chelsea
leaving
reject.
Saka out this season.
Mohamed.
No,
Chelsea
no,
reject.
I'm
Chelsea
saying
reject.
shoehorn him in at striker, and then because you can't drop
Because
Saka.
I'm not hearing this argument
Bukayo
that Saka
Saka
plays
is in
left.
there.
I'm not hearing that Saka plays on the left.
Megan
neither.
rocks. She says Salah over Saka.
That is criminal.
Yeah, but how many people said Saka over Salah?
And this is the thing. How many people have said Saka? I'm not. Are you seeing? No.
Well, there's probably
for
quite a
real?
big Arsenal contingency in
They're
this chat.
literally.
so I think
I'm
it's
seeing
right.
Mahrez over Salah. People are saying like people aren't mentioning even Saka himself.
Hold on,
guys,
that's mad.
defend your guy.
Hold on. Can I just hit up? Is there any argument for Saka? On because for
You
me,
guys tell me.
Right. For me,
You guys tell me.
For me right now, yeah, I would.
Saka comments are flooding in now.
I defend Gabby all the time. Jesus is my boy, right? But I'll be honest. Saka has to be in that team. Now, if that
Saka's
means
got to be
Salah
in
has
that
to go through the middle, fine, and Jesus don't start.
Yeah.
Bro,
100%.
Saka has to be in this
Salah's
team.
shoehorned in there, man.
Salah's been shoehorned in, yeah.
I'm shoehorning him in at
Yeah,
striker.
for this season,
One of the Premier League all-timers is being shoehorned in, is what you lot are telling me.
Well, you said
In this team,
he's
yeah.
not striker.
You lot even mentioned recent form, and I showed you recent form. Mo Salah's. Have you lot been seeing the lob through balls, the round-away passes? You seen the man?
No, but it's about who's comparing.
How recent form, though?
No, it's about who he's compared to, though. You're comparing him
you can't
to
not-
the creme de la creme.
Yeah,
Bukayo
player of the
Saka.
season, you know.
So I'm hearing the Salah stuff. I love Salah as much as the next guy, which is why I want to shoehorn him in. And obviously, it's very harsh to say the words shoehorning him in, but you're comparing him again. This is why it's so tough with these Liverpool players
Yeah.
who are having a bad season and are actually a lot better than what we're giving a lot of them credit for. But you're comparing them against the most informed players in the league.
You don't win friends
And
with
their
Salah.
most informed players were Bukayo Saka.
So is this unanimous then? The chat still
Hold
seems
on.
a
Let's
little
just
bit
pause on it. What are we saying on the
undecided.
left, though?
Trossard.
Wait, no. Let's do one at a time. Saka, yeah.
Saka.
Saka has to be in it.
Saka,
man.
100%.
Saka. Chat, you lot sure?
Saka
name
and
on the
Salah
team
through the
sheet.
middle.
First name on the
Although as
team
it is Easter weekend, I do want to give a shout out to my boy Jesus. I think he's got to be in the conversation.
You know, fair.
Gotta love a bit of
Right, let's go over to the other side now. Left wing. I'm hearing Luis Diaz is back in contention.
Well, come on.
Trossard.
No.
We literally put
If
Trossard in
availability
the
is
other
key,
11.
then Diaz is not there.
Well, you lot don't remember Luis Diaz from...
Oh, I do. Last season. Last
But
season.
it's last season,
That boy
though.
was a Tasmanian devil. Blah, 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 blah. On the
Last
left
season,
wing.
though. Last
Yesterday's
season.
man.
One season. He ain't got the credit like Salah's
He's a
got.
half-season wonder.
Right.
Oh, he
do
was good.
think he's-
No, he
I
was
do
good
think
before the
they've
half
missed him
season.
massively, and I
Okay,
do
then.
think he'll come back and land.
Okay, then. I'll be honest with you.
Mate, you
No
couldn't
shout for
land on
Nunes.
Easter
Poll has
Eternal,
closed.
let
Okay,
that.
Saka is in. Saka got 78% of the votes.
So let's bring the boy. Let's bring the boy Darwin into the
Propaganda
mixer.
was shameless. That was shameless.
I was not being shameless. I was literally when I showed you the chat. I like there was no Sakas there.
No,
At the
there
time, there
wasn't
wasn't.
actually,
So I wasn't being shameless.
78%.
Yeah, they were waiting.
Yeah, they were waiting for the poll, and then
Yeah,
they
knew
voted on the poll.
was
So fair
coming.
play. Listen, we appreciate you guys being involved. Left wing. I don't even think
Darwin.
Liverpool should be involved
Darwin.
in this conversation, in my opinion.
Darwin,
I think
Darwin,
Darwin maybe through the middle you can have the conversation. I think that's more of a conversation.
What?
Front
Darwin
threes are
over
so
Salah through the
fluid.
middle.
What do you mean? Salah's been... You lot relegated Salah.
No,
Don't
no, no.
try
I
and-
I relegated him.
put Salah in
Salah
striker.
is off the team.
No, I was saying I'm
lot make
shoehorning
this
him in the
decision.
striker.
Oh, now look, you see now.
I
they
said
wanna
it
change
from
their
the
tune.
start. Run back the clip. I said I'm shoehorning Salah in at striker.
We're not doing
To which we
shoehorning.
hope-
We're not
I
doing
will shoehorn him.
Oh, well, in that
There
case,
is-
Darwin
there is
or
players
sorry,
in each
sorry,
position.
it's not a
I'm shoehorning
conversation.
him in.
Darwin or Jesus. I'm starting Jesus every single day.
But I'm saying left wing.
So left wing.
Left wing for me, Liverpool aren't even involved in this
No, they're
discussion.
not.
It's
Trossard.
between
It's
Trossard
between
and Martinelli.
Trossard and Martinelli,
And this is
yeah.
where I actually want to hear where some of these Arsenal fans stand on, because
Right.
Yeah.
who are you going to pick? The new toy, or are you going to pick the golden boy?
Got to go the guy that's done it the rest of the season. Like, because they wouldn't have. They got into a position where they needed Trossard as
Yeah,
backup.
but are we
like-
ignoring what Trossard did before coming to Arsenal as well? Because if you're
Facts.
including that, then he's over
Then
Martinelli for me.
yeah.
I must say, I think Arsenal have got it right. I think Trossard for me is a player you start, and I think Martinelli right now off the bench.
Off the bench.
I think Trossard for me, Trossard gets it. He can do the direct thing, but he can also do the pass. I think he's everything. I would have took him at
Yeah.
City all day long as a winger. Next
Trossard,
season, I think
yeah.
we're going to need a winger. I would have took Trossard.
And West Ham have just beaten Fulham.
So I'd go with Trossard.
Big result.
West Ham, yes.
Massive result.
That result is finally done now.
No relegation.
1-0.
and Tournament for
That's
them.
a surprise result, honestly. I think Fulham have been in a little bit of
They're on
free
the
fall over the
beach.
last
Yeah,
couple
they
of
have,
weeks.
Go on the
But
beach.
so you're going Trossard.
Yeah.
You're going.
I'll go for Trossard too. Yeah.
Trossard.
Wow. And do you know what's so mad? The chat is almost in unanimous Martinelli. This is the beauty of football. Everyone can have an opinion.
Wow.
Look, Martinelli, Nelly,
Wow.
Nelly, Martinelli.
Okay.
There is barely any Trossard shouts. Martinelli is Arsenal's top goal scorer. Sends in Big Ash with the super
See,
chat.
the thing is, and I always say, when someone tries to tell me about City that's not a City fan, I'm like, you can't tell me about City. So I get here. They
This
watch more
is
of Arsenal
their
than me.
own.
It's
This is
their
their
team,
own.
so-
They're telling
Yeah.
you.
If it's their team, yeah.
And then up front. Now you see now if where you lot are talking about shoehorning Salah, I've only seen Salah maybe play one game. Now if you said you wanted to shoehorn Trossard, I've seen that. I've seen Trossard play 9 for Brighton. I've seen Trossard play 9 for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like it's an actual legitimate case. So if you wanted to say Trossard, Darwin, or Jesus, I can hear that discussion. If you want to remove Trossard from this, I'm okay to do that as well.
I think it goes back to what you said earlier, Daps, about Van Dijk, about the cash in the bank, the credit in the bank. And Salah just has enough credit in the
He
bank.
doesn't have
to
credit
where
in the
he's-
bank as a 9. That's the
Sorry,
point.
we're
Right,
just
he
going
has
mad.
so,
As a
he
man.
has
It's
so,
so fluid.
much credit in the
It's so
bank. Mate,
fluid.
his pockets are absolutely overflooding. He has that much credit in there. So much so that he is worthy of shoehorning it.
Result for
Trossard
Newcastle.
is not.
I just
standing
said-
up.
Hold
for
on.
Newcastle there.
I just said,
Bournemouth
Massive
have
result for
beaten Leicester
Newcastle
as
there,
well.
as you just said as well. 2-1, that game's just finished there as well. Leicester, Bournemouth has just finished 1-0 as well. Bournemouth
massive
1-0
Bournemouth.
win. All the results you basically didn't want to have happened.
Yep, Wolves have beaten Chelsea as well. Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, mate.
We got Rich
Oh,
Torrens
my
with the super chat as well. He says Martinelli
It's a
left
familiar
wing,
feeling.
Trossard striker, Saka right
See,
wing.
here's the thing.
And
I-
guess what? A lot of chats coming in as well. Sorry, Daps, just to cut you off. But people are saying Jota. They're saying Jota is the
Not enough-
Arsenal
Not
killer.
this season.
I'd rather have any.
If you're
Nketiah
talking
front.
in this fixture, combined 11, you're looking
Oh,
for a...
it's our boy.
Oh, Ollie Watkins. 2-0 Aston Villa.
But
Nottingham Forest.
I just
down.
said,
How many goals has Ollie
I
Watkins
just
got?
said, yeah, that I listen to Arsenal fans because they watch their team, so they
Week
went with
in, week
Martinelli,
out.
right? Well, same thing. I'm going to be the same. They've told me that to get the best out of Martinelli, you need Jesus on the pitch. So it's got to be Jesus for me.
So you're saying Trossard, Jesus, and Saka. You're going.
Exactly that. Trossard, Jesus.
This
Saka.
season, who's been better?
Well, you can't.
I'm going Salah. I told you, man. I can't look past Salah.
Salah's been eliminated.
But we're putting him in for the sake of it. Like,
I'm putting him in there because I find I want to give
you
Liverpool
relegated
some credit.
Saka. No, you had that chance when he was up against Saka,
he's not above
and you
Saka,
chose not to.
But
No,
Salah
Liverpool
is
wouldn't
one of
give
the.
you credit.
Oh, he's
Liverpool
stupid.
would not give you credit, so don't.
I didn't ask for their credit, you know. I don't need their credit.
They've
All right?
used up all their credit
I will
anyway.
go on overdraft. Okay, I don't need their credit.
What you say
I'm
anyway?
putting
You're
Saka
doing
in
well.
there.
What are you saying?
I'm going Martinelli left wing,
and
I would have said Trossard in the
through
middle.
the middle.
Yeah, that's what I
over
would have gone.
Jesus.
Over Jesus.
I put
sounds
bias.
Possibly.
it's hard to put
yeah.
any Liverpool player in this.
I think
level.
ability, if you're talking, I'm going Jesus all day.
I think you've got to look at the fact there is a reason. Like,
listen, I love Jesus, man.
there is a reason why.
Sorry, that was actually a super chat that was sent earlier as well. But let me just get your locks in. So you've gone Trossard.
Trossard, Saka, Jesus.
Same with you as well. Trossard, Saka, Jesus.
Trossard, Saka, and if I can't say Salah, I'm gonna go with my boy Eddie Nketiah.
You know what? That's a very James pick, I would say. So we've gone Alisson in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus.
Pretty diverse squad, I'd say.
Damn.
You know?
So basically, Arsenal with Alisson.
There's a lot of red pages.
But just quickly,
Fantastic.
every Liverpool fan watching this, apologies, but please do your job tomorrow. One job.
Yeah.
Protect your role as the perfect bridesmaid.
Please lose.
Please.
Come on, Arsenal.
And yes, I
Arsenal for the league. Wait, do you guys all want Arsenal to crumble now, right?
I want Arsenal to crumble.
Obviously you do, Fuad, and obviously you do. So it was a pretty stupid
I
question.
can't understand any Chelsea
Arsenal-
fan that wants Arsenal to win the
I
league.
want Arsenal to win the league. It's
Let me
exciting,
just-
man. It's beautiful for the game of football.
Before we wrap up, somebody Tottenham game, still the only one going, man. Brother, come on, blow the whistle, man. What are we doing here? Let me just read out a couple of these last super chats as well. Diallo says, this is actually a question to all you guys. What's the just a quick one, if you can. What's the hardest position to play in the Premier League?
Fullbacks, I think.
Fullback?
Yeah.
My answer,
Striker.
Striker.
number 6, DM.
Number 6 DM. I would say centre back. I think you mark the best players usually, and one mistake, you're done.
I think number 9 has the most pressure personally.
And I think the
if
way
you
the
don't
centre back
score-
has evolved as well. Position.
I think
Number 9, I hear it
DM
though with the
makes
goals.
it
I think
breaks the team.
fitness-wise, though.
I hear that as well. Brain-wise.
Fullback, you have to be able to play.
Fullback, I
transition,
think actually you probably
and
need the least.
fitness-wise.
I
but
think that's the thing.
the
Fitness-wise is a
mad.
killer.
You've also got to be able to move with transition nowadays as well. That's the thing.
Nathan sends a super chat as well. I didn't forget your super chat. He kept reminding me every 2 minutes. Hey, you forgot my super chat. Fuad, what's the Arsenal player you would take if you could? Well, if I could take one
great
player,
question.
Martin Odegaard. Easy. We need a creative midfielder. We've been dying for one. Set piece taker, bit of leadership. Oh, come on, Oldie.
Do you know why I'd take him? Do you know why I'd probably say the same at City as well? Because De Bruyne is getting on, right? And when people say, oh, this person or that person might do the role, the people that like Grealish will step in or Foden will step in. No, they're different players. Odegaard could step in and do the De Bruyne role. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like that for me, it would just be a simple transition. Whereas the others, they ain't got the passes, and that's what.
Yeah.
He has a specific role.
Yeah.
Odegaard does that.
Listen, final whistle's just gone on. Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. I know you obviously didn't get to see all of the game, but what's your kind of feeling? Lampard's first game defeat.
He's
Lampard
lived and
the winner.
died off Madrid. He's rested a lot of players today, and it'll only be worth it if we somehow come out of the Bernabeu with a draw or maybe 1 goal down.
Yeah.
I mean, he rested, for context, I mean, he's rested Kante, he's rested Ben Chilwell, he's rested a lot of players. So on that reason alone, I think it's depressing. It is incredibly depressing.
I know you're not.
Isn't that just Frank Lampard football in general, though? It's depressing.
So can I just add a
It's
bit
no
more
worse
depression?
than what we've had, mate.
True.
Like, it's no worse than what we've been having week
Can I just
in,
add that
week
little
out.
bit more depression?
We have to come
You've
to
seen the
you.
form that
Because it's a
Ramadan
therapy session.
Benzema is in right now.
Don't give me that. Look,
I'm here for the watch long, and I'm
Hey,
excited.
man.
we
It's
could
gonna be
different
nasty.
in the Champions League.
Oh, so does Benzema.
We beat Real with Benzema 2021. We can beat this Madrid side.
You actually always do well against Madrid as well, don't you?
We came this close last year.
Was that under Tuchel?
Under two,
You backing lamps like that in the Champions League?
Who thought Robbie Di Matteo, a West Brom reject, was going to win the Champions League?
Anybody? You can see the quality emanating from his eyes. Excuse me.
I love Robbie Di Matteo, but he's not a good manager.
Di Matteo.
Hey,
Legend.
Listen,
he's a
final
legend,
whistles,
but
final whistles have gone all round. Let me just run through the scores quickly. That is
Big win for
Aston Villa
Tottenham,
2, Nottingham Forest 0, Fulham 0, West Ham 1, Tottenham 2, Brighton 1, Brentford 1, Newcastle 2, Leicester 0, Bournemouth 1, Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Ay, Dios míos.
Big win for Tottenham, 6-pointer, massive win.
Huge win. I said today was the kind of game you cannot afford to lose to Brighton.
Look at that, United,
Some way,
Newcastle,
somehow, we
Tottenham.
pulled a result out. Son Heung-min scoring.
it's criminal.
Important goal as well. And then it's criminal on behalf of
crime
everybody else.
It's a crime
Everybody
against
else,
the Premier
look
League.
in your faces and slap yourselves.
It's a
for
crime
allowing
against the
us to
Premier
be
League.
here.
Yeah.
It's all your faults. Not because we're brilliant. But thank you.
Can I
were
slap them
brilliant today.
as well?
If you can.
Just a quick shout out to my father who sent me a
big up.
message. We really are poop.
Big up
I think
Mr.
that says
Overend,
us
man.
all you need to know about Chelsea Football Club. At the
Big
moment.
up Allergies on the super chat as well. He goes, Salah, bad season. Saka equals amazing season. Same amount of goals and only 3 assists more than Salah. How does that work?
Do you know the maddest thing is?
Interesting, yo! That is so interesting. Salah is apparently having a bad season, but Saka's having an amazing one. They have the same amount of goals, but only 3 assists. Saka only has 3 assists more than Salah.
But is it just output?
Do you know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. That's the standard of which those two players are held to. Saka's seen as this young developing player who's on his way up. Saka's at the top.
Saka just signed
you
a 400
should be
bag
giving
of
us 20 by now. You shouldn't be competing with Saka.
There's a reason why
That's the
they gave
issue
him
with
that
that.
deal.
I get it, but it is a funny narrative, though. It's mad how numbers can paint a picture for you. And big up Nathan as well. You've been sending chats all along as well. He says, Fuad, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know how the show works. Listen, we read super chats out when necessary. But
And you are led by a panel of football geniuses.
you are most definitely. Listen, those are all of the 3 o'clock games done. Of course, there is the afternoon kickoff, which is the 5:30 Southampton
City,
versus Man City, which I imagine there'll be a reaction on your channel as well. Never a foul. Make sure you go and subscribe to that, guys. Make sure you guys. Oh no, whoever.
will be one.
What, do you know what I mean?
9:45,
Listen,
never a foul.
go and support the man. Then
do the business
make
for
sure
me.
you're liking the stream as you're leaving as well. This has been a good one. Honestly, it's been a wicked Saturday show. Plenty of goals as well. Appreciate you guys, Tom, James, Daps, as usual. Listen, it's been a good one, guys. Make sure you like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you stay tuned for everything else we got coming. We'll see you next week. Take care.
DR Sports is entering the metaverse.
Welcome to Habbo.
Come play games and chat about the latest football drama.
Meet up with friends, meet new people, and have a great time.
I'll be there on special VIP days. Click the link or go to the website at habbo.com.